all my girls with me.
Good quick hands here. Breach up against Singh. That's magical from Jess Breach with the football. Looking to try and pace in down the line. Jess Breach steps inside. That is majestic from Jess Breach. The bonus point score. It's a Natasha Hunt with a charge down in the opening seconds. Mo Hunt charging down Ellie Green's kick.
Rowland fizzes one out again for Abby Brown. Very evident in the last few minutes. Oh, it's Emily Scarratt with a step on the fed, and there is the fourth try.
Casey, and then Deguda has managed to get the ball as it's come free, and this is a race to the line. There's a long way to go. Deguda is athletic. There are plenty of bodies coming across, but Deguda for the corner. Oh, what a score!
Blackburn, oh, it's been picked out. It was brilliantly spotted by Lisa Newman, and she will race to the line for Sale Sharks.
As the Chiefs look to come to the right again, and it might have been the chance for the breakthrough. Emily Jeffries showing to the right and then careering under the post. It's brilliant from the flanker.
Jones again, what can she create here, the Wasp number 10. Wonderful dummy from Meg Jones, that's sublime. Meg Jones with the opening score of the game.
Snowsill wanting to put a little bit more depth on it than the bigger pass over the top, trying to encourage Kaylee Powell onto the ball, and then down the left-hand side is Jasmine Joyce doing what Jasmine Joyce does. Joyce in and out, going for the corner. Joyce has got her.
Big moment for Quins. This time they get the ball 5 metres to travel. Who ordered a steamroller to Twickenham?
All my girls with me.
Very much for joining us today on this lovely sunny and warm afternoon for another round of the Premier 15s, this time between Loughborough Lightning and Worcester Warriors.
Good afternoon and welcome to the Allianz Premier 15s Round 5 match. Thank you for joining us on this sunny day for mid-October, but we're not complaining. Today we are here to see who will be victorious between 7th and 8th place teams, Worcester Warriors and Loughborough Lightning. I'm Danny Brett.
And I'm Ellie Barbieri, and today we are joined by Sam Peters, our lead pundit and commentator for today.
Thanks, Ellie. Danny, it's a pleasure to be back. Can't wait to get stuck in some good rugby.
Always a pleasure to have you, Sam. So, let's have a look at today's matches.
So, starting off today, we have Harlequins versus Bristol Bears at 3, Loughborough Lightning and Worcester Warriors at 4, and Durham Sharks versus Sale Sharks at 6.
And then on Sunday we have the Saracens versus the Exeter Chiefs at 2. And then at 5:15 we have Wasps versus Gloucestershire Hartpury. Sam, we've got 3 matches today. How important are all 3 of these matches?
We've got some really good matches, and obviously Bristol Bears being Quins being the big one. Bristol top of the league, Quins winners last year. They have kicked off. I did have a quick look at the scores just before we went on. It is all tied, so it's all to play for there. But yeah, a lot of other games there as well. We should see, Saracens moving up the table, Gloucester Hartpury really putting it in for there, and Sale DMP. I think that's going to be a really good game.
Last week, Saracens played Worcester. Let's take a look at their highlights reel.
Round 4 of the Allianz Premier 15s returned after a 2-week break, with Worcester Warriors at home to high-flying Saracens. And on the occasion of her 50th appearance for the Londoners, it was Marley Packer who sucked in the home side's defence to set Lottie Clack thundering up the touchline for the game's first try in the 7th minute, racing clear of the chasing Lindsay O'Donnell. A Zoe Harrison penalty extended the lead before Packer again proved the difference, spotting Worcester's gaping short side and sending Rachel Langera-Tambua in for the score. As Worcester tried to find space, it was Zoe Harrison who launched Sarri's next attack. A super solo effort after Warriors failed to deal with the high ball. Harrison scoring in the corner and managing to convert the extra 2 points as well. Saracens had plenty of big guns on show at Sixways, with England stars Rocky Clark, Vicky Fleetwood and Hannah Bottoman also putting the effort in up front. It was Poppy Cleal who took the quick tap, with Fleetwood adding some extra power as well. But the Warriors held out to begin with. But as the defence tried their best to park the bus, there was a little patch of exposed whitewash that Cleal was eagle-eyed to spot. A canny bit of ball placement was all that was needed to notch up the 4th try and bonus point on the hour mark. Worcester eventually managed to give their home fans something to cheer about just a few minutes later. It took the match referee a moment to get the right angle before the try was awarded. Local Worcester University graduate Cara Brinkett coming up with the ball after some concerted forwards pressure. But Saracens weren't done yet. Another rolling maul sapped the energy from the home side as replacement hooker Evans secured a 5th try. Worcester were undone by their own indiscipline at times and will need to tighten things up on the road at Lightning next week, while Sarries completed the job ahead of welcoming Exeter Chiefs. Full-time at Sixways, Worcester 5, Saracens 34.
So, Sam, what can Worcester take from that last game?
Yeah, there's a lot of positives for them to work on. They came out of the blocks really strong and their defensive units were, solid at times. Obviously, we heard it in the highlights, but there was just a little bit of indiscipline and a few errors. We saw when they were under pressure from the high ball, couldn't quite hang on to it, leaving Zoe Harrison to fly in for her try. But in terms of, momentum into this game, they didn't play too badly. Like, they can take their heads up high. Saracens are basically the powerhouse of the Allianz Premier 15s at the moment. Them and Quins have been running it for years. But, Worcester held them tight. And not just the Saracens game, they ran Wasps really tight a few weeks ago. So in terms of, attack, defence, they've got plenty to work on, but also plenty to be proud of.
Awesome. So we also are going to look at the highlights from Loughborough's last game, which was Loughborough versus DMP. Here they are.
This weekend, Loughborough Lightning made the journey up to Darlington Arena, ready to face DMP Durham Sharks in round 4 of the Allianz Premier 15s. Loughborough were looking for their first win of the season, and it was 21-year-old scrum half Meg Davey who got them underway and set the tone for the match. Just under 10 minutes later, second rower Iona Outwish showed some muscle and dotted one over the whitewash, marking her opening try of the campaign. The Lightning players found themselves in a very similar position, but this time decided to take the ball wide, and an impressive pickup by Isla Alejandro meant she also got her first try of the season. A disorganised defence by the Sharks gave Loughborough Lightning another opportunity to add up those points, with Canadian flanker Sarah Svoboda taking the glory. The motto must have been, if it isn't broke, don't fix it, because the visitors found themselves in a very similar position less than 5 minutes later. England international Lark Davies, who started on the bench but got on the field in the 40th minute, added to her try tally, and the score was 31-0 at half-time. DMP Durham Sharks were struggling to get a hold of the game, and they could only keep the dynamite that is Detisha Harper away from the try line for 15 minutes. Lark Davies really making her mark in the game and got the double after a confident forward pack propelled her over the whitewash. In the 63rd minute, number 10 Helena Rowland danced around a shaky Sharks defence before offloading to Sadia Cabella and Jess Weaver, who outrun the blue and white jersey. leaving 18-year-old Georgina Tasker to dot down her second ever try for the visitors. A great individual performance from Lark Davies, who managed to get a hat-trick, and they finished with a tally of 9 tries, with an extra 14 points added by Helena Rowland's boot. Their first win of the season complete. The final whistle was blown and Loughborough Lightning won by a massive 59 points, securing the bonus point. Another 2 games to look forward to from these two sides in round 5, as Loughborough Lightning welcome Worcester Warriors and DMP Durham Sharks host Sale Sharks.
So Loughborough Lightning thrashing DMP last time round. How do you think they can continue this momentum into this match?
Yeah, I think it was really important for Loughborough to get that win on the board, and a bonus point win at that. You know, 5 points is always 5 points, no matter who you're playing, top of the league, bottom of the league. But they put emphasis on getting the basics right. You saw good handling. You know, their set pieces were very strong. We saw in the highlights 2, rolling all tries, which from a coaching perspective is exactly what you want to see. You want to see your players, doing what you've worked on so much in training. But in terms of defence as well, absolutely outstanding. To get no points against you is always impressive, and something that I think they'll hope to repeat today.
Awesome. Well, let's have a look at what the league table looks like from last week's games.
So after last week's games, we have Bristol Bears on number 1 spot. We have Saracens Women's number 2, and we have the Harlequins number 3 and Exeter Chiefs number 4. We have Gloucester number 5, Wasps number 6, Worcester Warriors number 7, Loughborough Lightning number 8, Sharks number 9, and Durham Sharks number 10.
So, Sam, normally Saracens would be top of the table already, but this isn't the case at the moment. Bristol have almost come out and surprised us, and they are now top of the league.
Yeah, it's something we've got used to seeing in recent years. We've used to seeing Harlequins and Saracens in those top 2 spots, but Bristol have come flying out of the gates, and credit to them. They've played really good rugby so far. And, not just that, you see the Wasps are actually down in 6th, which is uncharacteristic for them, but they've had a couple of close games. And they, Worcester put them close a couple of weeks ago, and they beat Loughborough quite well here. But the league table is what it is. It's only round 5, and it's only going to change. So hopefully it continues like this to see some mix-up in the top 4, but you never know.
Okay. Well, we caught up with one of the Loughborough players, Sarah Hunter, beforehand.
A bit of a tough start to the season, losing 3 games on the bounce. So to get the win finally was really good, and the manner in which we did, it was a full team effort. We'll be building on that going into today's game. I think what the great thing about our team is that whoever's in the shirt will come and do a good job, and we train.
A single score, and it was a home game. They get to score at home, which will be definitely playing on their minds today. But this game will be the building blocks for the rest of the season. Win this and you're in good stead, but at the very least you've got to get that losing bonus point. That point from this fixture is going to be so important.
Do you think that because it's a home game for Loughborough that works in their favour?
Yeah, I mean, we've seen Loughborough University have been promoting this game as their big match of Freshers' Fortnight, and so we're hoping to get a quite sizable crowd. I've heard numbers thrown around of between 500, 1,000. Yeah. Who knows? They're students; they could still be in bed. But yeah, playing in front of a home crowd, there's nothing quite like it, and especially coming away, the hostility you feel. It should play in Loughborough's favour, but we'll see. Some teams thrive on playing against opposition fans.
And also both teams having their international players kind of return back to play for their teams. Is that going to increase morale, or how's it going to work with both teams?
Yeah, I think that plays a huge part. These players are so experienced, and obviously, going out and playing for your country is a huge honour. But coming back into your club side and being able to fill those gaps seamlessly, there's just nothing like it. And it adds to the team so much, not only morale, but overall talent. And it's good for both teams, and they've both had players selected for the international training squad over autumn. Looking forward to see how they perform.
Okay, well, so we should now have the interview ready. Here it is from earlier today. No.
We still don't have the interview.
Okay, well, let's go on about the players and their statistics, kind of. So first up, we have the Worcester player, Carys Phillips.
Yeah, Worcester captain. She's been really instrumental in the Worcester campaigns, not just this season, but in previous seasons. She's so experienced and just leads that pack so well that you know, having a player of that experience and just that team leader really helps the side.
So what can you tell us specifically about Rachel then?
So yeah, here we see Rachel Malcolm, the Loughborough Lightning captain, also Scotland captain, so she's got that leadership experience. You can see, you know, she's won more games than she's lost, which is always good as a captain. That's a stat you love to see. A couple of tries scored as well, which is, you know, a good thing. But when she's on the pitch, you know, Loughborough always have a chance, and it's those players that have that leadership ability that you always want to see in your side.
Okay, and also now comparing the two teams with one another, who looks better off if we're just basing it off numbers?
Well, if you base it off numbers, yeah, you're never going to get the full picture. But for, you know, both teams, if you take out last week, actually, it's massively different. Looking at it, including this week, then it's fairly similar. Both teams on around 20 points average per game. But taking that out of context, the DMP game, Loughborough are only averaging 7 points a game, which is something they really need to look at changing if they're going to continue and push for that top four. But head-to-head, there's, you know, the record stands for itself. It's 7 wins to Loughborough, 0 to Worcester Warriors. And that's going to be, you know, weighing on both teams' mind. Loughborough to keep their 100% record, and Worcester looking to make the big upset.
Okay, well, third time is a charm, so let's see whether now we can get that interview that we got earlier with Sarah Hunter.
3 games on the bounce, so to get the win finally was really good, and the manner in which we did, it was a full team effort. We'll be building on that going into today's game. I think what the great thing about our team is that, you know, whoever's in the shirt will come and do a good job, and we train week in, week out with each other, and we've obviously got players coming back from international duty, and they've been with us a long time, so hopefully they'll fit back in seamlessly. Playing at home is huge, and to have fans back this year is really special, so hopefully we can put on a good performance for them.
Amazing, thank you. Good luck.
Okay, so Sam, big match. Obviously though, Worcester I haven't said that properly. Worcester have never beaten Loughborough before. Do you think they have it in them today?
Yeah, I think they have a really strong squad on paper. Obviously, if we look back at the last time these two faced off, it was here at Loughborough in about May of last year. The score wasn't quite representative of the rugby we saw. We saw Worcester really, you know, pushing Loughborough back for 60, 70 minutes, and then there was just a 10-minute period where their attention slightly dipped, and it just allowed Loughborough to pounce on those unforced errors and just push the score up. I think it was 43-12 at the end, but that doesn't matter. In terms of today, we've seen both sides lining up. Worcester were here at least half an hour before the Lightning girls. They're really up for it. They want to win. They know that this is a very winnable fixture for them, and should be very excited to come through and win today.
Okay, well, Sam, we've got to let you go. You need to run up to the commentator box, so. Yeah. Good luck and enjoy the rest of the game for yourself.
I'll see you guys at half time.
Enjoy the rest of the game, Sam.
So, Ellie, obviously now we are back into non-COVID times, I guess.
Yeah,
How
crazy.
great is it going to be that we can finally have a whole load of fans here?
I am so excited. I've been here for 4 years watching every big game, and when there are fans, it's the most amazing atmosphere in the world, and it's also a really, really good event for the freshers, because it's, as Sam said earlier, being advertised as Loughborough's big match for their freshers fortnight week. So it's nice for the freshers to have an event that doesn't just involve drinking alcohol.
Yeah, and obviously, you know, freshers is a big deal, which means we try and get as many people out here. But it's Loughborough. This isn't just the one time where people come out to see. Every single time, pre-pandemic, you know, we have had the biggest crowds we can possibly have here. You know, will that continue here for Loughborough?
Of course, it's not a sporting university for no reason. It's so nice when everyone comes out to support all the teams and all the sports. So I hope to see a good, big crowd here today.
Okay, well, hopefully Sam has made it up to the commentator's box. Sam, are you there?
All here, ready to go.
Awesome. Well, Sam's also joined today by a very special guest. Why don't you go ahead and introduce them, Sam?
Sure, thanks, Danny and Ellie. Well, I'm honoured to be able to introduce my co-commentator today, someone who really needs no introduction, but I'm going to give her one anyway. A Rugby World Cup winner, England's leading point scorer of all time, World Rugby Player of the Year, World Rugby Team of the Decade, and if that wasn't enough, she's got a Commonwealth bronze medal. Have you figured out who it is yet? Of course you have. It's Emily Scarratt. Emily, thanks for joining us.
Not at all. Thank you for having me.
We should have a great game on our hands here today. But just before we get into any of that, let's have a look at the lineups. So, starting off with Loughborough Lightning, Rhys Edwards makes 8 changes to the team that beat the EMP Durham Sharks last week, 3 of those coming in the forwards. Last season's top scorer Lark Davis comes in at 2, with Kath O'Donnell and captain Rachel Malcolm reclaiming their spots in the starting lineup. Jenny Maxwell comes in at 9 after a successful campaign with Scotland, pushing Megan Davey to 15. Megan Gaffney gets her debut in a Loughborough Lightning shirt alongside winger Georgie Lingham, who signed from Saracens at the start of the season. Final change would be Emma Hardy in the centres. For Worcester Warriors, just 5 changes, only one of those in the pack. A familiar face for Loughborough Lightning fans, Jo Brown returns at 8. Fionn Lewis makes her first start of the season at 9, alongside Mamori Yamamoto, a new half-back partnership for the Warriors. Meg Varley and Vicky Foxwell start in the centres, and Lydia Thompson returns on the wing, pushing Carys Cox back to fullback. Looking at the replacement, and there's strength in depth for both sides. You see the likes of Sarah Svoboda and Katie Trevarthen for Lightning, who, both coming back from injuries, but Rhys Edwards looking to get them minutes for the rest of the campaign. For Worcester, it's Laura Keats and Sinead Harries who are the big guns. Katie Mattinson also looking to make an impact off the bench, as she's done so many times this season. So we've gone through the lineups, Skaz, and 8 changes to a side. That's quite a lot, but there's got to be confidence in the players coming in.
Yeah, there has, and I think certainly from a Loughborough point of view, we've obviously got a lot of internationals coming back, especially those Scottish players coming back into the side from, what was a successful campaign for them in their World Cup qualifiers. So it's awesome to welcome those guys back, especially someone like Rachel Malcolm. She's our captain, so getting your captain back in any side is always important. So there are a lot of changes, but hopefully they're all really good ones, they're positive ones, and we'll see some really good stuff out there today.
And Worcester making 5 changes, especially a change at 9 and 10. That halfback link up is so important, but this is the first time they've played a game together. Is that going to impact them, or do you think their training will have put them set them up for this game?
Yeah, look, there's no doubt new partnerships always take a little bit of time to get going. I think Kay Matson has been very good throughout the start of this season, so she takes her place on the bench. But Fionn Lewis, she's just been called up to that Wales squad, so she's very experienced, and sometimes you just got to get out there and play. Partnerships aren't always built on the training field, they're built when actually the pressure's on and the heat of the battle's taking place. So yeah, I'm sure they'll be great there today. Should be good momentums for both times. And there are a few rugby laws that we just wanted to make you aware have changed. The first being the defensive dropout. So attackers held up over the line no longer get an attacking scrum. They get a drop. The defending team gets a dropout from the goal line. Skaz, how does that help defensive teams? Well, it's kind of yet to be proven a little bit, I think. Obviously, from an attacking point of view, you get held up over the try line. A scrum is quite often a nice thing because you're not far from the try line still, whereas actually the team that then kicks the ball out to you, you still have a really positive attacking opportunity. I think what we've seen is actually those first collisions have always taken place on and around near the 22. So, it's kind of a race back to the 22 as fast as possible. So I think both sides will have their plans and their own ways of doing things. I'd love to see people reacting a bit quicker to that stuff. Can we take a quick one short? Is the space long, and create a foot race? I think they've been quite slow and structured so far, so I'd love to see that bit sped up a little bit.
And so obviously that's an attacking, a defensive law change. But for the attack, the 50-22 rule, kicking it from inside your own half and putting it out, having bounced inside the 22, means that you get the put in. So how does that change, the attacking mentality of teams?
Yeah, I think, look, from a defensive point of view, obviously you have to manage your backfield and make sure that there aren't, very obvious spaces on those edges for good kickers to kick to. I think Helena Rowland, certainly for Loughborough, has got one hell of a boot on her, so she'll definitely be looking for those. Obviously, if you can transition from your half to having a line out in the opposition 22, that's a massive, massive play if you can get it there. So, yeah, big plays to come, hopefully.
Now, obviously, we have spoken a bit about the crowd, but it's starting to grow here at Loughborough University, and they are looking forward to this game. It looks like we'll have Loughborough Lightning getting us underway. A big match for both teams, 7th and 8th, looking to get points on the board. Can I get an early prediction?
Well, look, you're not going to get anything other than a Loughborough win from me, are you? But yeah, huge match in the context of the season. Both sides have gone well early doors and excited for it.
Well, as we said, it's Loughborough to kick off, and it's Helena Rowland with the high ball, but it's a good attack from Worcester straight off the bat, looking to set this tempo early. Big tackle, Loughborough up quick already, looking to just, let Worcester know that they're not going forward anytime soon. Oh, and straight away, it's a Loughborough penalty, just bodies over the ball.
Yeah, I think the defensive coach will be very happy with that first set. Sadia Kabea getting straight off the line, early doors, making a big tackle. That's how you want to start games. You want to show the opposition, the intent that you're here to play with. Loughborough have played 3 away games this season so far, so to actually be back here, it's a beautiful day. The girls will really be wanting to show what they're about, and Charlie Jacoby on one of her first starts for Loughborough, a new signing this season from the USA. Great turnover from her.
Yeah, coaches talk so much about that first tackle, but we really saw there that Loughborough just went in with this intent to make Worcester work for every metre.
Yeah, and hopefully that's the intent that they've set and they'll keep going with for the rest of the match. I love to see taking the points early doors as well, showing a huge amount of respect for Worcester and what this game is and how big a game it is. Unfortunately, I think she's just pushed it, but the intent is there for me.
Yeah, good to see Loughborough with the intent of keeping the scoreboard ticking. But now Worcester with a 22 dropout. Long flat ball into the Lightning half, well controlled by Helena Rowland. A little bit of footballing skills there. She's got numbers wide. Rachel Malcolm swallowed up on the ring. Ball just pops out. Worcester have now the advantage. Yamamoto out to Cox, who's tackled well. And Worcester just securing this ball and looking to get some phases going, but it's a good offload to Alicia Washington.
Not coming. We've got the scrum advantage back there for you.
And Worcester just no advantage coming from a Loughborough knock-on, but good attacking prowess from Worcester.
Yeah, it's a great tackle by Lydia Thompson, isn't it? She's so good at that. She keeps herself really high in the line. She saw the threat of Helena Rowland running across the line from that 22 dropout. Rachel Malcolm, call her Scotty, Rachel Malcolm just got caught with the ball, but it's a brilliant read by Lydia Thompson. One of her first games back since a concussion this season, so really good to see her back out there making big impacts.
That's one of those tackles where if you get it right, everyone loves you, but if you miss it by just a second, then you've left the entire wing open. Yeah,
exactly. And I think it's something definitely for Loughborough to keep an eye on. Lydia does like to come high and make those big shots, and she's incredibly good at it, but I think Helena, with the capabilities that she has, if she could perhaps throw one over the top of her, really release our outside backs, Megan Gaffney, Georgie Lingham, they've got great running opportunities down those wings, especially on a dry track like today.
Yeah, and even just speaking about that 50-22 rule, if you know that Lydia's going to run all the way up, then there's space in behind that you can just look to exploit.
Yeah, of course, and I think certainly, as we said about intent and coming out early doors, there's always an intent to have good field position as well, and certainly from kicks like that, Helena's a very good footballer. She can definitely ping the ball 60 metres back over your head, so I'm sure Loughborough will be keeping an eye on the territory battle as well.
Well, we've been talking about Loughborough, but it is a Worcester put-in at this scrum, and they look like they've got something planned. A full-back behind the scrum, Lydia Thompson just lining up Megan Gaffney. But Worcester get the free kick. Loughborough just too excitable, wanting to get going early. Katie Matterson makes some metres, but Lydia Thompson tackled on the 5. Washington with a big carry. Loughborough up quickly again, but she'll continue to make yards. Lewis out to Yamamoto, comes out the back, it's Varley. She's on her own, she's just brought down by Kabea. And an excellent tackle it turns out to be, as Varley just loses the ball forward.
It's good intent from Worcester, isn't it? I think we can see perhaps their game plan. We've spoken about the dry day a lot, and obviously the 4G pitch, it kind of encourages that quick running rugby game. And the first opportunity Worcester have there, they're trying to come out the back, they're trying to get their wide players on the ball, lots of space, lots of opportunities for players to take people on one-on-one. So, you know, both sides potentially showing a similar intent to play from an attacking point of view. So we could be in for another Queen's Bristol if anyone saw that last night.
What a shootout that was. But here, you know, we can already see Lydia Thompson just sitting back, waiting for that ball that could potentially go over her head. But these two forward packs pretty evenly matched. If you look at the stats, they've both been pretty consistent and wanting to go forward. As that one just collapses and they'll reset.
I think they're definitely two very proud forward packs. I think, yes, certainly, you know, some of the players within those packs and some of the quality, any scrum, any line out, any maul opportunity, the stuff where they can really puff their chests out, they'll certainly be wanting to do that.
Yeah, both sides with new signings in their packs. Obviously, Alicia Washington over from the US, and Sadia Kabir, who was Wasps Young Player of the Year, coming over to Loughborough. Big signing.
Yeah, huge signing, and she's been brilliant. I think for such a young player, she hits really, really hard. She's probably, you know, punches above her weight in terms of her years from that point of view. But Alicia Washington as well has been brilliant for Worcester. Really enjoying, I think, being over here playing some rugby.
Yeah, 2 tries and 4 starts for Washington, but it's a Loughborough scrum who have got the better of this contest. Now just move it forward, waiting for that advantage. Now it comes out, Maxwell to Rowland, who puts boot to ball, and she's just misjudged that, and that's going to come all the way back.
It's a tough one for those forwards standing up, isn't it? They've just been charging forwards in that scrum. Yeah, I think this is the right call from the referee. I don't think there were any infringements. It was just Loughborough being able to go forward in that scrum, so kind of ball had to be played. But yeah, look, Helena will be disappointed with that. I think it's the right idea. I think there's a lot of space down there, and as I say, she's got a hell of a boot on her.
As Loughborough steal this lineup, with Lark Davies recovers it. Maxwell now out to Scotty. You got it in my head now. Sorry. Rachel Malcolm. No, it's fine. I'm sure she'll enjoy it. But now rolling back to Claire. Good boot to the ball. Straight down to Vicky Laughlin, who will look to run with this one. Plenty of meters to be made, and she'll find them. As now Worcester get players over the ball to secure it. Out the back it comes. Yamamoto, long pass to Varley. Got Foxwell on her inside. Good tackle by the Lightning defence. As now Worcester look to use their pods. Phase play is, you know, it's all about patience from them from here. As now Yamamoto again out the back. Varley will have a run, chooses not to use her number, and now Laughlin's got the ball in some space. Brought down well. Georgie Lingham using the touchline as another defender. But now Worcester looking to use their backs again. Big tackle in the midfield. Lark Davies getting all over that one. So now Washington looks to fend, but just not making any meters. Going to say Loughborough might need to be careful. They look like they were just edging around the side, and indeed they did.
Yeah, frustrating from a Loughborough point of view. I think Worcester, as we said, they've come to play. They keep going out the back of a lot of what they're trying to do, but not necessarily going anywhere. They probably need to put a bit more pace onto the ball, have a bit more intent at the line, but love to see them throwing it around. And I think Loughborough, they were happy. I think they were settled in terms defensively. They were able to you know, watch those plays happen and make those tackles. So a penalty is probably a soft out for Worcester right here.
Yeah, they did well to marshal the gain line, just not letting Worcester get past and making them go back. But it's obvious that Worcester have identified space out wide, a lot of these balls out the back. But here's a chance for their forwards to, you know, make up for that scrum, really push towards the line. Rising like a salmon, but it's Loughborough who recover this ball, tipped off the top of the line out. Helena rolling back, looking to clear this one.
Hold in front. You're good.
Big ball, and make sure to put this one out. That's a good clearance kick by Helena Rowland.
Yeah, really good clearance kick. I think something now that I'm sure Sarah Hunter will be pumping those Loughborough forwards up with is I think that's 2 from 2 line-out steals that they've had on a Worcester ball. So another opportunity here to get up in the air, but from a Worcester point of view, just probably need to go safe, make sure they get one in the bag, secure the ball.
And Worcester with the put in with this one, and that's exactly what they do. Go to the middle. Loughborough trying to, make them offsides, but they're not going to fall for that one. There's a good counter-ruck down the middle, and Loughborough looking to turn this one over. They've got bodies over the ball, but Worcester will secure it, and now look to go through the faces. But Sarah Hunter up quickly again, making that first up tackle. And again, Loughborough straight through the middle on the counter-ruck. Big turnover. Rowland with the dummy, throws it over the top. They've got numbers. And now Megan Gaffney with her first touch of the ball in a Lightning shirt, and it's a very positive gain. It's now Malcolm out the back to Rowland. Flat ball, Sarah Hunter. But now Loughborough really playing jouet rugby. You love to see these little offloads, and Loughborough doing it really well. But there, Maxwell, flat ball to Rowland, and Loughborough really making territory. And I've cursed them. I'm sorry, but yeah, no, just no support with them.
Okay.
It's all very well doing these quick offloads, but if you've not got any support with them,
on the ball first.
it's going to get turned over.
Yeah, it's a real shame. It's lovely play. It all started from, I think Loughborough just identified that they actually wanted to start counter-rucking some of those breakdowns from when Worcester had the ball. Probably Worcester left themselves a little bit skinny at times, so they were able to just get under there. Natasha Harper, some huge hits through the middle, and then, yeah, really nice ambition to play. Worcester got themselves a little bit short. Love to see Georgina Tasker just put her foot down. She's so fast. Just put your foot down, keep going. But yeah, got to source those breakdowns properly.
Now, you mentioned Georgina Tasker, and obviously Reese Edwards is described as your understudy. How good is she in training?
Yeah, she's very good. She's incredibly talented. She's got a very, very good pass on her that probably is beyond her years. And as I say, she's a hell of a lot faster than I am. So with the less matchups we can have against each other, the better. But yeah, she's still so young. This is what I forget about a lot of the especially the backs at Loughborough, is they're still so young. So opportunities like this for them to be out here playing in front of good crowds, good opposition is priceless for them.
Worcester with the throw in at the line out, just not straight, and Loughborough choosing to clear their lines and just get the ball away from the danger areas.
Yeah, I think Loughborough spent quite a bit of time, haven't they, in their own half, so an opportunity to hopefully try and clear the halfway line at least off this attacking play would be really positive. Spoke about territory and how important that is.
Yeah, 10 minutes into this fiction, it's really been back and forth, but I think Worcester are just starting to get the upper hand as now. Oh, I beg my pardon, it was a penalty. Loughborough put in, goes to the back. Sarah Hunter rising like a salmon, plucks that one out of the air. Rowland now looking for a bit of a move. There's space. What a run this is. Sally Cabert on her inside, Meg Gaffney on her outside. But Lydia Thompson, what a covering tackle that is. But Loughborough all set. Worcester still sorting their lines out. Well,
no, it's a forward pass though. She
ball just goes forward, but
beforehand.
Excellent attacking play by Lightning.
Yeah, awesome. Love to see it. 5-man line out, choosing to come out the back. Emma Hardy's been away playing rugby league quite a bit, so she's not been present at Loughborough, but she's certainly been playing some rugby nonetheless. Giving Georgie Lingham a run down this side, and brilliant recovery from Lydia Thompson. If there's one thing you never need to worry about with Lydia, it's pace. So she will chase you down like nobody's business. So yeah, but awesome start. Just love to see it continue to go through some phases and really build that pressure.
Yeah, Lydia Thompson on those wingers that if you're running, you can just hear her behind her, you know she's going to catch it. As Loughborough, again, just engaging slightly too early for the referee's liking and giving away another free kick. At least I think they are. They are indeed. Lara Davies just checking. As Fionn Lewis goes quickly, looking to take this one wide. Farley out to Foxwell, who's got a lot of space to run into. Gaffney chasing down Vicky Laughlin, makes the tackle just before touch, but it's a one-on-one. Can she hold on? No!
Advantage scrum.
So unfortunate for Worcester Warriors, but Loughborough Lightning pounce on that ball. No advantage coming, but what a read by Fionn Lewis to go quickly.
Oh, it's so good. Love to see it. I think the Loughborough front row was still arguing the point. Not sure they had totally understood what had happened, but yeah, she spotted the space, immediately moved it, and rreleased those backs down that far side. Just that last pass, wasn't it? Just couldn't quite handle it, couldn't quite rein it in. But yeah, I think Worcester backs certainly showing what they're about, certainly showing what they're capable of in that sort of space.
It's certainly positive. They had 2 players in support of Vicky Laughlin on the wing, which, I mean, as a Loughborough player, you've got to be worried that there's only one of you and 3 of them out on the wide channels.
Yeah, it's about hard work, isn't it? I think Georgina Tasker, because of how quickly they went, she just got her eyes in a little bit, and it's so hard to recover from. But Megan Gaffney did a brilliant job just to buy time. At that point, it's about trying to, concede a bit of ground and not concede a try.
As Loughborough now with a scrum in their own 22, but again they'll look to marshal it slightly further, and now they've got that penalty advantage. All that hard work pays off, and they finally get one in their favour.
Rachel Malcolm loved that one, didn't she?
Well, as a captain, you've got a big win like that for the side. That's her job. Get the crowd, get the players, psyched up.
100%. If there's 1 or 2 things to describe Rachel Malcolm as, she's certainly the hype girl and the leader of the charge with all the small wins and things like that.
As the touch finder doesn't quite find touch and gives Worcester a chance to run this out. Carys Cox attacking from fullback, but a big collision. Offload to Alicia Washington. Worcester making sure to get bodies over the ball, securing this one, and out the back it comes. Yamamoto. Now Varley. Just bounces off Georgina Tasker, but Sadia Kabir says, "You're not getting through me." Good pick. Oh, I thought that was a good pickup. I've got a post in the way, so for me it looked like they had the ball, but no, slight knock on.
Yeah, might agree with you. I think it's a touch harsh, certainly from up here, although we are a good 100 yards away probably. But yeah, it looked like it was a good pickup. But
we will deal with it. Okay.
I mean, that's our job to be armchair referees, isn't it?
100%.
But what a good attacking mindset Worcester have come into this. You haven't seen them kick yet because I think they don't need to. They're just finding spaces that Loughborough are leaving, and look at the ground they've made.
Yeah, I think Worcester have obviously come into this game with a game plan, but I think all season they probably showed the intent of what they're about and what they want to be about, and that certainly is moving the ball, winning those big collisions in the middle through Alicia Washington and Alex Matthews, now she's back, and then giving these young exciting backs an opportunity to run with the ball, and Yamamoto is controlling that really well at the moment.
Yamamoto over at the Japanese Rugby Union's request, but Loughborough with another strong scrum. Hunter picks up from the base. Jenny Maxwell sees some space. Here she goes one-on-one. Big crunching tackle by 2 Worcester Warriors players, but look at the ground she's made into the Warriors half. As now Lightning look to attack up the centre. Warriors with a good clear out, but Washington, as soon as the ball lifted, she's in there, and unlucky. Seemed to be the first player, but referee deems she's off her feet. A bit of a let-off for Loughborough, as Jenny had no support.
Yeah, brilliant break from Jenny Maxwell to start with, wasn't it? Just that scrum play. Centrefield scrums are always so hard to defend. You're always slightly numbers down, and if you don't quite get it right, you're going to be in trouble. And Jenny Maxwell's got a brilliant turn of pace just to find that gap in the first place. And again, Loughborough looking to spread it, but it's brilliant timing from Alicia Washington. Jenny Maxwell had picked the ball up, so she's entitled to come through and make that tackle or play the 9. Just got to continue to try and get that ball away. When you've made such a positive inroad, speed of ball, continuing to work the defence is so key.
Loughborough have this as what must be their first attacking line out just outside the Warriors 22. Kabir at the back, and now quick off the back. Rachel Malcolm to Emma Hardy, covers it well. Now Maxwell just using those forward pods. Kath O'Donnell powering through the Warriors defenders. It's the pop and go. Charlie Jacoby with a positive carry. And now Sarah Hunter takes 2 Warriors players to bring her down. And Loughborough just using the forwards here. And now out the back. Eleanor Rowland, Emma Vardy looking for that space, but it's not coming. And Loughborough just using the phases well to their advantage here. Tisha Harper out to Charlie Jacoby, more meters made, but it's just knocked on in the tackle. And what looked to be a positive phase building, just a little knock on, and it's all over.
Yeah, it's been a little bit of tail of the first, however, 17 minutes or so, hasn't it? Just both sides getting into good positions, making initial breaks or busts, and then just not being able to really capitalise or keep hold of that ball. I think Loughborough are making great inroads initially through that route one, if you like, using those forwards round the corner. Some fantastic ball carriers. Kath O'Donnell never takes a backward step, but again, it's just a frustrating ending, and I think both sides will reflect on that and hopefully try and fix that up going forward.
But a big opportunity for the Loughborough scrum here. Obviously been dominating most of the scrums so far when they've been engaging on time. And here, Worcester managing to hold on to this one. Scrum just turning a little bit, but it'll come out to the Warriors' backs. Big tackle, but they release Vicky Laughlin. Brought down by a great covering tackle by Jenny Maxwell. Now it's Worcester's turn to look to go through the phases, just building through the forwards. As Carys Phillips just looks to add that extra guard in, as Fionn Lewis sets up for the box kick, decides against it, looking to attack Loughborough's blind side. But this time she's a little bit more set, just outside her 22. It's a good clearance kick, well covered by Lightning, and now Helena Rowland's got some space to run into, chooses not to run it, goes for the kick. If this bounces, oh, is that a 50-22 I see?
Love to see it.
No. Oh, ref. That's a shame.
Well, you can see Helena's going mad in the backfield, and rightly so.
Yeah, that should be a Loughborough throw, and evidently just not picked up by the refs, but Helena choosing this time to run it. Big tackle by the onrushing Warriors player, but just high. And now I'm sure the Lightning players will have a word.
Inside the half. She caught it. She was in the half. It's okay.
Don't know if you can pick up the ref mic there or not, but yeah, I think Rachel Malcolm and Helena Rowland just making the referee aware that actually Loughborough had caught it in their own half. Fantastic kick by Helena Rowland. I think, look, it's tough for the referees. They have so much to look at. I think, the touch judges and the assistant referees have really got to, it's a new rule. It's a rule that as backs we get really excited about. It's something we practice. So, we've just got to make sure that where possible we're trying to see as many of those as possible, because for Helena, that's a fantastic skill execution from her that's not quite been rewarded.
Yeah, the referee was quick to just admit that she may not have seen it, and that's what you like to see from referees. They know they're not always perfect. It's good to see they are human.
Oh, 100%. Like, as players, we don't go through games and not make any mistakes, so we can't expect the same from referees.
But a huge kick to touch from Helena Rowland there, more than making up for that. And now it's another attacking Loughborough line out. Just referee making sure that everything's got to be perfect before this ball gets put in. But if I was a betting man, I reckon this is going to be a big maul for the line.
Yeah, I don't think you'd get very good odds on that one.
Advantage.
Looked to be set up for one, just Sarah Hunter couldn't quite hold on to the ball. And it will be a Warriors scrum. But it's good to see that Loughborough have identified that is their strength. Obviously, both sides now know, where they want to play it. Loughborough want to play this with the forwards, and Worcester looking to play out wide.
Yeah, I think you've probably seen good attacking rugby from both sides, an ambition to try and get the ball wide. I think, yeah, you're right. Loughborough, we've got a fantastic forward pack out there today, so, why not use the strength that a lot of those players have in terms of their ball carrying ability. But as I say, it's that last pass stuff, it's that little bit of execution, it's that little bit of staying on top when you're in the right areas that both sides will be wanting to look to rectify.
As a referee not quite happy with this one. Scrum will be reset still with a Warriors put in. But that Loughborough front row, I don't think it's talked about enough. Datisha Harper, who is, she's I think played 1 or 2 games for England, but one of those young players you've been talking about that is made for big things.
Yeah, Datisha's been awesome for a couple of seasons now. Yeah, she always puts herself around the park. She loves to play rugby. She's not an old school prop and just tucks and runs. She likes to play, and she likes the attacking side of the game as well, as much as she loves the dark arts of scrimmaging.
And now the scrum is underway. Finally, Worcester picking up with Jo Brown at a big covering tackle by Rachel Malcolm.
That's it, keep on.
Now Washington playing the role of 9. Worcester just making their way slightly infield, improving the angle for what you'd assume is a clearing kick coming. And it is just making sure that one don't want to get caught on the counter.
No, it's a good exit from Worcester in those sorts of positions. You always, when you have the opportunity, when you're inside the 22, trying to get the ball off the field is definitely the way to go. But obviously not a huge kick, so a really good attacking opportunity again here for Loughborough. Sarah Hunter just rallying the troops, making sure the call is the correct one, and hopefully can launch a good attacking platform from here.
This is Loughborough's 5th line-out of the day. They've only lost one, and that was just due to a slight mishands. But what Worcester expecting them all didn't come out the back with Rachel Malcolm. Emma Hardy with a big run into the Warriors 22. Now Iona Antois with the carry.
Extra roll on the floor.
But this is another rule that's recently brought in that players are still getting to grips with. That extra roll on the floor. You used to be able to do it, now you can't.
Yeah, it's to try and encourage defending sides to get over the ball, you know, opportunities to steal and stuff. So taking that extra roll really takes that opportunity away from them. You know, there's so many brilliant players over the ball, back rows especially, that's their bread and butter, that's what they love to do. So I think it's a good thing. I think it will hopefully maintain that momentum in the game, slow those breakdowns down, and as I say, it gives opportunity to turn the ball over as well.
Washington, Worcester, not Washington, Washington's a player for Worcester. Worcester with a good penalty kick, clearing their lines, and they'll have the put in at this line out. Right in front of us, ball well covered by Worcester. Now Yamamoto out the back to Lydia Thompson, who's going on a run. That ball just a little bit behind Meg Varley, and she'll have to scramble back to recover. But just not covered on the floor, and it'll be a Loughborough attacking scrum. Probably their first of the game in an attacking position.
Yeah, definitely. Certainly this close to the try line inside the 22. Again, it's good ambition from Worcester. I think for me, I'd love to see that variation now. So go through the middle a little bit, you know, keep Loughborough honest, challenge that 10 centre channel, and then be able to go wide once you've perhaps shortened the defensive lineup or you've made a really positive gain line. And it's just that balance of the game that is so important at this level.
Well, Lightning loading all of their backs out to the left. You'd imagine it would come to them, but you can't count out a Sarah Hunter pick and go down the blind side.
You can never count out a Sarah Hunter pick and go.
Bind! Set!
Loughborough winning the ball at this scrum, and out the back, Sarah Hunter thinking about it but choosing to go to main. Emma Hardy through the middle, she's found the gap. Loughborough over quickly. Rowland now out. A big tackle by Lydia Thompson, just offside. So Loughborough now with, well, as the ref says, never onside.
Yeah, it's such a positive carry from Emma Hardy that it's always going to be so hard for those Worcester defenders to get back onside and then get up as fast as Lydia did. We've said she's incredibly pacey, and she certainly is, and it was a fantastic hit and a fantastic read, but unfortunately just toes over that offside line as she did it.
How many?
Yeah, obviously, as you mentioned earlier, Emma Hardy off with Leeds for a bit of a rugby league, and that was typical rugby league, just hitting the gap, just making sure you're gaining those meters.
Yeah, she's got a fantastic sense for a gap, sense for if the defenders turn their hips, drop their shoulders. So yeah, brilliant to see her really just backing herself and taking it on. As I say, she's not been around that much early doors this season, so great to see her back.
So now Loughborough with the line-out, didn't quite win it cleanly off the top, and it could be Warriors who have stolen this one. The referees called them all, so it'll be interesting to say who brought this one in.
Number 6,
but no, it's a
side
entry by Worcester, and a let off for Loughborough, who just couldn't quite secure that line-out.
Thank you.
It was a bit of a mess, wasn't it? But you know, as soon as she's called maul, irrelevant of the situation of where the ball is, that, you know, all the same rules still apply. So the laws of the maul are still intact. So coming in from the side is something you can't do. And again, probably a get out really for Loughborough there. It was certainly wasn't a clean line out.
As Rowland takes no time in putting this straight back out for another line out. Kath O'Donnell going up for this one, but stolen again by Worcester. Big corrie by Gondway. Now Worcester making sure to secure this ruck, giving space for Yamamoto to clear her lines, which she does. Just out to inside their 22, and another good steal by Worcester at the line-out. They obviously had those first two that didn't quite go their way, but now really disrupting the Lightning line-out.
Brilliant steal. I think it's Alex Callender at the front there, just very light, very speedy in the air, gets off the ground incredibly quickly, so he's able to, despite the fact she didn't take off first, just get in front of Cathy O'Donnell in that instance and nick the ball.
And important to note, this is inside the 22, so if Worcester steal, it can go straight out. But this one just overthrown. Sarah Hunter couldn't quite gather as Joe Brown dives on this. And Worcester now with numbers wide. Yamamoto out to Varley, gives it to Foxwell, who looks back inside for Lydia Thompson. Couldn't quite find the gap, but it is a high tackle advantage for Worcester Warriors.
You can't go quick. High tackle, penalty only. Number 12.
Some good backs play by Worcester there.
Yeah, always a dangerous sight when you see Lydia Thompson off her wing, but going looking for work. As I said earlier, great to see her back. She's got such good pedigree in the game. So good to see her back out there playing, running around, enjoying herself. But again, it's a let-off for Worcester. You know, Loughborough had a fantastic attacking opportunity 5 metres out, and all of a sudden they're now defending their own 10-metre line. So great play by Worcester. Yeah,
this will definitely one that, you know, the coaches pick out in the half-time break. It's just, you know, missed opportunities as Loughborough they'll disrupt the Worcester line out. And
okay, it's just knocked on off Pink at the line out.
In that disrupt, just knocked forward by Lightning, scrum to Worcester, but both sides struggling to secure their own line-out ball.
Yeah, I think there'll be a lot of line-out chat at half-time. I'm sure Sarah Hunter, certainly from Loughborough Lightning, and Lisa Burgess from Worcester, who probably take charge of those two areas. Yeah, they'll be wanting to fix it up. It's such valuable ball. You know, when you look at Helena's, perhaps didn't get it, but the opportunity to do a 50-22 and the opportunity that brings, getting the line out right is so important.
Well, we've seen how the scrums have been going so far this afternoon, and Loughborough hoping to disrupt this one again. But Worcester with a strong scrum. That ball's going nowhere. And it is a Worcester win. Going blind, Fionn Lewis looking to just run this through the gap. Lovely step on Sarah Hunter, who just goes flying. It's now that ball just forward in the tackle. And a little bit scrappy, but good intent from Worcester there.
Yeah, good intent. They did well actually to get that ball out of the scrum. It looked like they'd missed the strike. The ball was just sat in the middle of the scrum, and you know, you can tell they're under a huge amount of pressure from this Loughborough side. So I'm sure the hooker is, you know, Carys Phillips is a little concerned to lift her leg off the ground because she knows the pressure that's coming through them. So yeah, it's unfortunate from Fionn Lewis. I love the idea of it. There's nobody around her, so she can release that ball, get back to her feet, pick it up, and keep running. And actually, if she'd been able to do that, there weren't many Loughborough players in front of her to stop her. So it's an unlucky one.
But Jenny Maxwell and Lindsay O'Donnell just having a bit of a shove there, and a wry smile from Maxwell as she knows she's riled up the Worcester fort. But Lydia Thompson back with Carys Cox for Worcester, just stopping that ball over the top as the referee makes sure to get this scrum set absolutely the way she wants.
It's part of the job description, isn't it, for all good nines?
Crouch. Bind.
Good, Charlie.
Set.
And another strong scrum by Loughborough as they secure this ball. Referee decides no advantage coming. You can hear what it means to the Loughborough players.
Your hips have come out and you're not driving straight.
Definitely Loughborough have got the advantage and the upper hand here in the scrum, haven't they? We've seen some good momentum going forward, good couple of penalties as well, and you know, in the position that they were in there, well into their half, it's such a valuable tool to be able to win a penalty. Helena Rowland now just mistouched again.
Just mistouched, well covered by Worcester, but now she's got a chance to go wide. Brings it out to Meg Davey, who's got two players outside her. Georgie Lingham looking to attack down this near side wing.
Straight off your feet.
But the supporting players just off their feet and allowing Worcester some breathing room.
Again, it's another law that referees have been a lot hotter on, and again, it's one I certainly fully support. Just that first arriving player just going straight off their feet, they stop any contest for the ball, and so it's good to see those ones being picked up. But again, it's an easy let off, isn't it? It's now an opportunity for Worcester to kick into Loughborough's half and give themselves a really good attacking opportunity.
Yeah, Loughborough's ill-discipline just proving to be their downfall at the moment as they're letting Worcester off in nice attacking areas. But Worcester now playing their own game. They've got an attacking line out. Just too high and slightly disrupted, but they will recover it. Fionn Lewis diving on that ball.
She's first man.
And that's Charlie Jacobi with an, as the referee says, she's the first one there, straight jackled on the ball, and it's a good turnover for Loughborough.
Yeah, if she's the first one there, she's all rights to it, and she loves it. She's only been here probably a month or so. Really enjoying having her around. She's a big character. It's actually her birthday today, so shout out for Charlie's birthday. But yeah, I think that's her second of the day, isn't it? Second steal at the breakdown. Very, very strong over the ball. Tough to move when she's in that position, so Worcester have got to make sure they get there quicker. Yeah, Dalika Menon moving on to Exeter Chiefs over the summer, so important to bring someone in. And I mean, Charlie Jacobi has more than shown that she was the right person for the job. Yeah, 100%. I think when you lose someone of Dalika's class and stature, it's always going to be tough boots to fill, but I think Charlie's come in and certainly made a great job of that so far. As Loughborough now get clean ball off the top of the line out, Emma Hardy with a little bit of a run, looking for some space. Ball comes back quickly for Jenny Maxwell as Helena Ronan thinks she spots a gap. Brought down but well cleared out by the Lightning players. Cabert now on to Malcolm. Looking for a little bit of that Route 1 rugby. Now Harper, flat ball to O'Donnell. Good tackle by Alex Matthews.
Two, side entry.
As Lark Davies just comes in at the side, and again, Loughborough in an attacking position, penalty given away, and a deep side by Emily Scarratt. I just looked at the scoreboard, it's still 0-0, isn't it? Can't believe it on a day like today. I went early with my prediction of a Quins-Bristol repeat, didn't I? But yeah, look, it's frustrating. It's a frustrating one for both sides. I think neither of them have really got into any form of continuity that they'd be happy with. I think there's been really, really positive glimpses of stuff, but then just not being able to get on the back of it and really capitalise. And obviously the very obvious way of capitalising is by putting points on the scoreboard. But again, as we're coming towards the end of this first half, a good opportunity for Worcester now to try and really string something together. Yeah, a lot of rugby left to play in this game. Obviously, that only chance at points, the Helena Roland penalty early on that was just pushed to the right as Worcester win the line out. Yamamoto sees some space, breaks for it, makes some good meters, so that ball comes out. Carys Phillips now out, and it's a good little dummy and gain, but two Loughborough players there to swallow her up. Lewis now out, ball back inside to Alex Callender, who's making good meters. Meg Davey with a very important tackle in the Loughborough 22. Carys Phillips now looking to build some ground. Loughborough player straight on. Yamamoto, flat ball, oh, just couldn't hold on to it. But Loughborough now playing with that knock-on advantage. Harper playing the role of 9, slightly over the top, and Roland clears the line.
Scrum advantage over.
Down to the 10-metre line. And Emily Scarratt, you looked a little bit stressed there when Datisha Harper looked like trying to channel her inner Matt Dawson. Hey, I was giving her a big up earlier, wasn't I? That she's not an old school prop and she likes to play. Hey, no, back her every day of the week to give that scrum half pass. But look, it's the right intent, isn't it? Turnover ball, find your kicker, find your playmaker, find somebody who's going to be able to potentially see a space if there is one, or kick the ball if there's backfield space. So no, certainly the right decision. She's picked her head up a bit too soon. Should be hearing about that one in training next week. But as we've said, very, very sort of cagey start for both sides. Obviously, good intent going forward. Just, you know, the execution not being quite there. Yeah, and Worcester had got themselves into a really positive attacking opportunity there. You know, they're good carries, positive contacts, clearing the breakdown really well, and then it's just they get to that point where it's a pass just slightly behind somebody. It's really hard to take. Unfortunately, a little knock on just at the point as well where you're probably starting to stretch defences and really make them work hard or make decisions, and it's probably just 2 or 3 phases more after that where you get defences that really struggle and potentially break, and that's where the points come. So it's really important for both sides. I'm sure both coaches, Rhys Edwards and Joe Yapp, will be reinforcing that message of continuity, looking after the ball, control at the breakdown, you know, picking the right options come half time. Yeah, Emma Hardy there just receiving some treatment for Loughborough Lightning, but it will come back for a Worcester line out right on the 10-metre line. Covered well at the front, and
same again. You two cannot step around. after the jumper being tackled.
So she's like, is she going like this?
Yeah, they're coming round you and blocking these guys getting on the ball. Penalty on the 15.
I mean, that's great from the referee, explaining exactly what's going on there.
Yeah, explaining it exactly to them. I think obviously Alex Callender just wanted a little bit of clarification there, just to make sure that it's obviously happened twice now, that it doesn't happen a third time, because it's such important ball. And now they're going to be defending a line out 30 metres further down the field, which is, nobody wants to be doing that.
Aim of the game, keep the ball and score points. Can't do that if the other team have the line out. But again, another Loughborough line out in the Warriors half, and we'll see how the execution goes. I wish I could call it at this point, but it's 50-50. Clark Davies with the injection. Sarah Hunter covers well. Quick ball off the top. Maxwell out to Rowland. Ball out the back. Tasker, good inside ball. George Lingham just holds on to it, but it's a big tackle right on the 10. Maxwell now out to Hardy. Rowland with a little quick step. Finds space out for Meg Gaffney.
Out blue!
Big run by Rachel Malcolm, big collision in the centre. Flat ball out to Charlie Jacobi, who makes more ground, and Loughborough just looking to attack that Worcester 22, but
Well, she's got on the ball. 5. We don't need that.
Referee just making sure Jacobi knows what she's done. It's that little roll again.
Yeah, it's very clear explanation. Just as Loughborough was starting to get some momentum, speed of ball was really good, really positive front foot stuff, winning collisions.
As this ball looks to be slightly sliced, not quite going to make it. Gaffney covers well inside to Rowland, puts her head up, sees space out the back and puts good boot to ball. Georgie Lingham chasing this one down, but Carys Cox going on a bit of a run. Datisha Harper saying, you're not going any further. Big tackle. Oh, what a fend. Out, it's Carys Phillips. Quick ball out. It's lovely little 1-2 between Callender and Thompson. Now it's a big tackle for Lydia Thompson. Ball just comes back inside. Alex Callender making sure she's in support to cover that ball. Worcester now looking at the Lightning 22 for maybe the third time this half. Ball goes out the back. Meg Varley gives it to Alex Matthews. It's a big tackle, and it's definitely not deliberate, as the referee says. Ball goes backwards, and Lightning ball.
Take him back. Hold.
Helen Rowland with a big kick back into the Worcester half. Clock goes red, and ball goes out.
Okay, hold. Got forward into touch. What would you like?
2 minutes left, I apologise. Our clock says red, ref has slightly different, but that's the way rugby is, all the stoppages. We can never quite keep up, as we're going to take time off for a Worcester player receiving some treatment. But again, lovely back and forth. Worcester doing incredibly well, and then just a big open field tackle where the offload just wasn't there, but it was sort of forced. Yeah,
I think Worcester have created some really good opportunities on the edges. I think they had 2-3 player overlap there, but they just weren't able to make that last pass. I think it's a good defensive read by Emma Hardy, I think it was. And those ones always look really dodgy, because it looks like you're kind of obstructing and getting in the way, but actually Emma Hardy has all rights to the ball as long as it's going backwards. So a really good intervention from her. But if Worcester can just hold their feet a little bit as that second, third player in from the touchline, there's a lot of space on those edges to release their wingers. And Loughborough similarly, you've got to go and stop it, or you've got to ease off and cover the space on the edge. And I think a little bit at the moment they're in two minds as to which one they want to do. So just making sure that gets fixed up. But again, 2 minutes now to half time. If either team can put something on the scoreboard, it changes slightly the dynamic of a half-time chat.
Yeah, exactly. Rachel Malcolm just making her way over to have a chat with the ref, but from what you predicted, it's a high-scoring affair. This has turned into an absolute sort of slog almost.
Yeah.
But, yeah, a lot of time for both teams to score, and a lot of things for the coaches to come in at half-time with.
Yeah, and I think the most frustrating thing is obviously being sat up here. I haven't really thought score that either team has looked like scoring either. You know, they've done some good things and they've built some phases, but I wouldn't necessarily say that either team has really pressed and are unlucky to be nil on the scoreboard. So yeah, I think there's definitely some fix-ups at half-time.
Yeah, Loughborough with those 2 opportunities earlier on the 5-metre line from line-outs, they just couldn't recover. But now a Lightning scrum right on the halfway, and a big shove coming from Lightning. Maxwell chooses to go out the back. Another run by Emma Hardy. Quick ball, says Jenny Maxwell, and now it's coming out to the backs. Helena Rowland looking to make a little bit of a run. Almost said Rona Lloyd, but she's no longer with Lightning. Jenny Maxwell tackled, but the ball gets to Kath O'Donnell, who makes a couple of extra metres before going down. Now it's Davies, out to Cabert, who, well, she thought she saw space, but it closed pretty quickly as the Warriors shored up their armour. But penalty advantage, tackler not rolling out the way, and Loughborough now with a little bit of chance to maybe get some points on the board right before half-time.
Such good intent from Sadia. She always carries the ball like she's going to run 50 metres and score, and that's exactly the intent you want. I think at times Loughborough have been a little bit stationary when they've caught the ball. You know, you're only going to challenge defences if you're on top of them, if you're running at pace. It makes defenders sit down, it makes defenders make decisions, and that's where you get weak shoulders, it's where you get holes, it's where you get people dragged into decisions and tackles that they don't want to make. So fantastic intent from Sadia.
Yeah, almost looked like a sevens player there. Obviously we saw Jenny Maxwell's run earlier, pure sevens pedigree, finding the gap and just hitting it. But here we see another Loughborough Lightning line out right outside the Warriors 22, covered well by Iona Antwis, and it's a maul. Can the Loughborough forwards find something right before half time? It's a big rule. Emily Scarratt giving them the giddy up as they're keeping moving into the Warriors 22, but player straight through the middle. Jenny Maxwell just gets the ball away as Meg Gaffney looks to try and escape.
Okay, the ball is there.
And Lightning pretty lucky to get this ball back. Harper looking for support, but nothing coming. Antwis now swallowed up by the Warriors defenders. Ball now coming out the back. Lark Davies looks to have a little bit of a run.
Roll now, Blue!
Got good clear out players in the form of Rowland. And now Datisha Harper, big collision in the middle. She falls forward for a couple of extra metres. Maxwell just marshalling the troops around the corner as Kath O'Donnell looks to go a little bit of route one.
No step. Use it, 9.
Harper out to Rachel Malcolm. And Worcester calling players out. Loughborough have numbers out to the right. Antwis, a little bit of a pop pass to Lark Davies. Now Rowland, short pop, taken in by Tasker. Sarah Hunter, a little bit of step inside. Again, swallowed up, good clear out by the Loughborough players. Harper just looking to get that ball going a little bit forward. Couldn't quite hold on to it in the challenge, and that'll be it for the half. But first time that Loughborough Lightning, you know, put together quite a few phases.
Yeah, put together lots of phases, but fair play to Worcester's defence. They stood really firm. Loughborough probably one-dimensional a little bit, you know, big carries, just got to tackle players and put them to ground and make sure that you're finishing that job off. Jenny Maxwell controlled it really well. It's good to see that change in momentum. There's, you know, Alex Matthews originally came through the maul really well. It was good to keep hold of that ball in the first place, but just slowing it down, realised momentum had dried up, but then it's about how do you get momentum back again? How do you create that quick ball again? Because otherwise you're just sending, you know, forwards into forwards and it's just a collision fest. So there's lots of things for both sides to think about and talk about at half-time, and hopefully we'll get the tri-fest we want second half.
We might see some scores, but as you were saying, you know, a lot to work on for both teams. But I think for Loughborough especially, it's been a sort of a mix of, you know, just a little bit of poor discipline and a couple of unforced errors, especially, you know, just going in off your feet, and, you know, that leads to the ill discipline, which Reece will definitely have a word with the players about. Yeah,
it's definitely something to talk about. I don't think there's been any themes out there, so it's not, you know, we keep offending on the same thing, or you know, you keep trying to force offloads that aren't on. I think it's just a little bit of, you know, just tighten everything up a little bit, and I don't mean that by pick and goes and you've got to play one out rugby. I just mean that in terms of your decision making. You know, is that offload really on, or is it better for us to recycle and all that sort of stuff?
Yeah, we started started seeing it more towards the end for Loughborough Lightning. Obviously, at the start, going very route one, forwards, but then starting to, mix it up a little bit, short, wide, and I think, Jenny's got a big job to make sure to keep that going.
Yeah, and balance is so important. We spoke about it from a Worcester point of view, and it's definitely valid both sides of the ball in terms of, where you're trying to attack, why you're trying to attack there, and the variety. If you keep going wide, defence will sit off you and go and marshal you out there, whereas punch through the middle, they might sit down and leave you some space to go out wide next time. So the variety and the balance of play is really important. But I think, certainly from a Loughborough point of view, I'd love to see a bit more pace on the ball, a bit more intent when carrying. It's easy for me to say sat up here, and I'm sure it's hard work out there. And certainly from a Worcester point of view, very much the same, but just continue to go through phases and really look after that ball.
Yeah, well, that is the first half wrapped up. Let's take a look at some of the highlights from that first 40 minutes.
Against Loughborough Lightning and Worcester Warriors. Let's have a look at the other games that we've had this afternoon. So we have had the Harlequins women's versus the Bristol Bears, and the Bristol Bears are currently winning 24-5. And the Durham Sharks and Sale Sharks don't start until 6. Sam's back.
Yes, hi Sam, you're back. So, obviously quite a varied first half in how it went. The main, I guess, cause of concern at the moment is the lineups. What's going on?
Well, it's been interesting, but before we get into that, just a quick note on the Bristol Bears. That is full time now. Bristol Bears have beaten last season's winners Harlequins, cementing their place at the top of the Premier 15s, which is huge for Bristol, and it's great to see another team getting in there. But on your point on this game, the lineouts have been a little bit of an issue for both sides, not quite firing as both sides would have wanted, but Skaz and I were saying, there's plenty to work on for both teams. And not just the lineouts, there's a couple of set pieces, a couple of little bits of ill-discipline creeping in for both sides, which both coaches will look to iron out during this half-time period.
Now, towards the midway point, there was a slight mess-up with the referee in terms of who had the throw-in. How does that affect a team's morale? Because obviously, refs are human, mistakes do occasionally happen, but how does that affect the team?
That's quite an interesting one. Obviously, it's a new rule, which means that everyone's still trying to get their heads around about it. But it's every now and then you have that little bit of luck that just doesn't go your way. But for the most part, Loughborough have had the ref on their side, especially in the scrums. They showed early dominance, and everyone always says the ref is always 52-48, and if you can get on that 52, that's fine. But that's a mistake the ref will never make again. It's one of those, it happens once, and they will always remember the time it happened and will never want it to happen again. So I doubt, that's not something they'll dwell on. They got a penalty slightly later on, put the ball into touch, and went from there. But then, just couldn't quite execute the line out.
Yeah, and also Loughborough's only chance at points really was that penalty. Do you think we're going to get more of this kind of just back and forth in the middle ground, or?
We'll see. I think it will be quite high scoring this second half. I know Skaz, said it was going to happen the whole game. I'm now saying, both teams have sized each other up, so we should be on for some good rugby the second half.
Okay. Well, let's go into the best bits from this half-time.
Yeah, so we saw early on, it was pretty much, nip and go for both teams, but Worcester, had that good start. A lot of, up quick tackles for Loughborough Lightning, and Worcester, we spoke about it early in commentary, but they're looking to play out the back quite early. It did change towards the end. You saw a lot of Route 1 rugby, but the earlier chances were for going up the backs. But we saw there a Lightning scrum, and that's something that they've been really on top of. Their scrums have been heads and tails almost better than Worcester Warriors, and you almost question why they didn't take one on that 5 metre line instead of going for the maul. But Worcester have been playing exceptionally well to keep Lightning at nil, and they've had their own pockets of attack. We've seen Alex Callender, Alex Matthews, Lydia Thompson all fly down the wings in support of each other and just really force those last-ditch tackles from Loughborough Lightning. But it's again we've seen big clearances from both sides and good rucks, but a lot of sevens experience in this Loughborough Lightning team, and you've sort of seen it in the way that they attack the lines. They're looking for that weak shoulder, outside shoulder, trying to find the gaps in between both the player and their opposition outside. But it's exactly right there. Emma Hardy using her experience as a rugby league player, and just again Lydia Thompson, we said flying down the wing and could quite make the tackle. Loughborough Lightning player couldn't quite escape, but again here it's another example. Vicky Foxwell flying down the wing, who actually we found out is on 97 points for Worcester Warriors, just 3 points away from becoming a Centurion for Worcester, which is always a huge deal when a player hits 100 points for their club. But again here Jenny Maxwell using that sevens experience, flying down, and this was one of those times they did have players in support, but a couple of times when Loughborough were on the breaks, they didn't quite have the numbers to secure that ruck and ended up forcing turnovers, which is definitely something that Reece Edwards will be addressing. But again, just there, balls coming out the back, just couldn't quite release the ball early. You saw there it was basically a 3-on-2 for Loughborough Lightning, but they couldn't quite get the final product away. So that's definitely something that they will look to change in the latter half of this game.
Is there any standout player on the pitch for you today?
Not currently. I think both teams are playing exceptionally well as a unit. Obviously, Lydia Thompson has saved Worcester numerous times already with those last-ditch tackles, and Helena Rowland's played she's played a really good game at 10 with Jenny Maxwell as well. Facilitating that with the quick ball at 9. But no, I think it's absolutely been a team game for both teams, and looking forward to seeing what will happen in the second half.
So those were the best bits of the first half, and I'm sure we can all agree we are really looking forward to seeing what happens in the second half. Let's have a look at what Match Report does here at Loughborough University.
Good save.
So, takes it in! Oh, it's a goal!
Thank you very much for joining us today for another round of the Premier 15s, this time between Loughborough Lightning and Worcester Warriors.
I'd like to see a bit more aggression and make this a spectacle for the crowd, because that's what this is really about.
And that is another try for Loughborough. That is another try for England.
Okay, so obviously this isn't the only game that Loughborough are going to be playing. Next Next we have Loughborough Lightning versus the Sale Sharks women on Saturday the 11th of December at 2 o'clock. Here, live at LSUTV from the... if you want, you can get involved in media here. You can follow us at LSU Media on Instagram and Twitter to get involved more in all things we do here, whether that's TV, radio, photography, or article writing.
That was everything for the first half roundup. Let's go back to Sam Peters in the commentary box.
Ellie and Danny, welcome if you're just joining us from the Bristol and Quins game. What looked to be a hell of a fixture. We've not got something as exciting, but it's sizing up to be exciting. Obviously a big win for Bristol there. I'm joined in commentary by the one, the only Emily Scarratt. Scaz, what are your predictions now for the second half? You've had 40 minutes to assess both teams, slightly off with the Quins shootout guess, but what have you got for a second half?
Look, we've got to see some points somewhere, haven't we? I think both sides' intent has been brilliant, I think, in terms of how they want to play. I think it's just that execution piece, and it's just that continuity bit, and looking after the ball. I think we'll probably see both sides maybe kicking the ball a little bit more, being in the right areas of the field. As cliched as that is, it certainly helps turnovers or being able to apply sustained pressure. And yeah, naturally we'd love to see some tries or points. We'd just take points, would we? But definitely tries. I don't know the last time I've seen a 0-0 thriller for 80 minutes. So yeah, both sides will be well revved up in the change rooms at the moment.
Yeah, and one that will be getting underway shortly. But you know, we've seen. You know, we talked a bit before we went to that about Loughborough Lightning, but you know, Worcester Warriors, they've had plenty of opportunities attacking down the wing. They had that little passage of play in the Lightning 22, but it was just, you know, a ball slightly behind the player that just meant that they couldn't quite, you know, execute. Yeah,
I think both sides all have shared frustrations in terms of, you know, positions that they've been able to get themselves into and just not being able to take those opportunities. You know, Worcester, I don't know the territory split, but they probably had a little bit more territory at times, certainly in that first 20. So yeah, it'll just be a little bit case of, you know, check on our departure times. When are we going to receive the ball? Making sure we pass, you know, finish our passes off really well, so that everything's really accurate and as clean as possible to give yourself the best opportunity to continue to keep the ball, apply pressure, and ultimately hopefully score some points.
And you spoke about kicking a little bit earlier. Obviously, the sun was out for the first half. It's now gone in behind a rather ominous-looking cloud just behind the Hazelgrave pitch. But yeah. At the end of the day, you know, it's high ball security is a big thing in rugby, and we saw it actually undid Worcester last weekend when Zoe Harrison managed to, you know, just undo them and work through it. But maybe we'll see more kicking. Well,
there's that very well used cliche, isn't it, that a kick is only as good as its chase. So you know, the wingers and the outside backs, as well as those forwards through the middle, have got a huge job. If that is the case, and teams want to, you know, apply a bit more pressure through the territory and through the boot, then, you know, the chase and the first tackle or the follow-up collisions have got to be right on the money in order to maximise that.
Both teams coming out, so we will be underway shortly. Looking at the sides from up here, we can't see any changes, but we will let you know. Actually, Emily Scarratt thinks she might have seen one.
Yeah, I've spotted Ellen Ramsbottom on. I don't know who she's come on for, though, but Ellen Ramsbottom looks like she's come onto the wing, this near side wing.
Could be Emma Hardy. I think I saw her limping off at the end of that first half. But it is all speculation on our side. We will let you know as soon as we get something concrete. But it will be Worcester to get this second half underway with Minori Yamamoto.
I think Sinead Harries is on as well for Worcester over on that far side, so she's a big combative ball carrier, Welsh international, so that will be, you know, another big challenge for Loughborough.
Well, will Lightning strike first, or will the Warriors be able to break through Loughborough? We'll find out in the ensuing 40 minutes, but it's Rachel Malcolm who collects off that line out, off that restart, and takes it into contact. Half an hour about Tasker looking to use some of that lightning pace that we heard Skaz talking about in that first half. A little bit more patience from Loughborough in these first few starting phases, looking just to get set rather than rushing into anything. Now Roland out the back, good ball to Davy. Ramsbottom now has the ball in her hands, out wide to Gaffney, little bit of a step, couldn't quite escape, but Loughborough making good ground up to their own 10-metre line now, as Rachel Malcolm chooses to try and go the long way around. Coming back to short side.
There we go.
And Sally Cabert just can't slot that ball behind Charlie Jacobi. A little bit of a knock on, and yeah, good. It was good, purpose from Loughborough, but just again execution couldn't quite live up to form.
Yeah, I predicted perhaps a bit more kicking, and they probably just totally proved me wrong, because it looks like they're trying to almost run themselves out of the half there. So yeah, it's frustrating. Went through some nice phases, found a bit of space on the edge, gave Megan Gaffney an opportunity to take on a bit of space. But yeah, again, it's that last pass, it's that looking after the ball, it's that understanding and knowing your role in order to really maximise.
So if you could predict it'll end 0-0, we'll probably get a few tries. As Loughborough winning the penalty from that scrum, and a big cheer goes up from Rachel Malcolm as she knows how important that first scrum penalty is.
That's probably been the one consistent, isn't it? Loughborough's scrum dominance. We saw them first half, taking steps forward, being really dominant in that sense, and able to win good penalties. Important that Helen is off the back of it and actually gets the ball off the field and is able to give Loughborough a really strong attacking opportunity.
As Roland puts this ball out just past the halfway line into the Worcester Warriors half, but I mean, I spoke about it a little bit at half-time, but it is the case. Once you get in the referee's mind that you are dominant in the scrum, you're going to win those penalties far easier.
Yeah, of course, and it's just about continuing to show really good pictures. Sinead Harris went and asked, what they can do, and it'll be a tough job for them now to get that back in the scrum.
Huge contact in the middle
Gone straight off your feet
between Yamamoto and Cabert as a good win from Loughborough Lightning, but Georgina Tasker can't quite stay on her feet on the seal-off and makes it uncompetitive for Worcester to get the ball.
Yeah, it does, and the referee's been very consistent with that all game. You can argue that they're harsh, but that's what she's set out. They're the parameters that she's working in terms of what she's seeing. And like we said in the first half, you want to see a competitive breakdown. You want to see opportunities for the defending side to get their hands on the ball if that second or third attacker isn't there quickly enough from a Loughborough point of view. So yeah, it's frustrating. They're those kind of stoppers, aren't they? It's very stop-start. It's a couple of phases, something happens, couple of phases, something happens. So both sides, as Megan Davey looks like she's struggling a little bit, both sides all, as we've been talking about, just want to get that continuity.
Yeah, Meg Davey looking like she took a bit of a knock in that first half, couldn't quite shake it off. One of those that you hope, you have this time at half time, get some deep freeze on it, strap it up, good to go again, but can't quite shake it, and that's tough to see. You'd love to see her out there. She's such a dynamic player, but
yeah, you would. They're tough ones. Adrenaline can get you through a lot, but when you know that the adrenaline can't quite get you through it, then you're, without being rude, it's more detrimental to your side if you're not able to cover the ground and do the things that you would normally be able to do. So yeah, I think Jess Weaver's come onto the field for her. It'll be interesting to see where she fits in, because Megan Davey herself isn't a natural fullback, so she's normally a 9. Jess Weaver's also a 9, so quite who will fit into that 15 position now. It'll be interesting to see the reshuffle.
From the looks of it, it looks like Georgie Lingham is slotting in at fullback, Jess Weaver on the left wing. Worcester now with this line out after a good penalty.
No, hold. You guys wait until it's in. You guys, not too much delay on the throw, okay?
The ref just laying down the law. Don't argue with her, she's correct.
We've had a long delay on the throw, and we've had you guys jumping early. We'll take the line out again, okay?
Perfectly explained. Thank you, ref.
There we go.
It's now Worcester with this attacking line out. Ball just thrown over the top. It's Lark Davies who covers. Maxwell now out to Roland. Looks to go again, but Ramsbottom. Loughborough using their backs well. Tasker cuts back inside. Big tackle by the Warriors. But Maxwell looking to get this ball out quickly. Davies out the back. Sarah Hunter's found a bit of space. Can she get the offload away? No, wrapped up by Carys Phillips, but a good tackle by the Warriors and positive meters made by Lightning as this goes wide to Meg Gaffney, who looks to be shepherded into touch by Vicky Laughlin, but they keep her in. Kath O'Donnell now. Another big carry, but I mean that's a huge battle between those two locks, and a very even result as Loughborough just going backwards here. Not many options for Ellen Ramsbottom, and Warriors have managed to push them back into their own 22. Rowland now, big clearance from her own 22, and this one will just check up inside the Warriors half. Kat McNaney, who has obviously come on at half-time that we missed, in at fullback, covers that one, and oh, big fend from Flo Long. Now it's Yamamoto looking inside. That's actually Carys Cox. I have no idea who came off there. Big run into the 22 for Warriors, and it looks like they've got a penalty advantage. Now Gondway with another positive tackle.
Not coming, forward pass, penalty for 4, not rolling.
And Worcester Warriors with potentially the first chance to get some points on the board.
Yeah, you'd imagine, yeah, as the referee points to the sticks there, you'd imagine they would take the relatively easy 3 that's on offer straight in front of the post here. But again, Loughborough took an age to try and clear their lines there, running in the 22. It's great to see that attacking intent from them again, but just it's all quite lateral. I think, you know, as an attacking line, you've got to come back against the grain. You've got to try and straighten up in order to just not, you know, put your wingers in trouble like Megan Gaffney had to fight to stay in the field of play there. So yeah, it's awesome stuff from Worcester. That's probably the first real threatening bit that we've seen from them. Real good intent, good pace, and it's led to this opportunity for 3 points.
Minori Yamamoto standing over this one. Normally Vicky Foxwell who kicks, but Yamamoto will choose to take this one. Just sets herself, approaches the ball. Down the middle, and the deadlock is broken. Worcester Warriors lead Loughborough Lightning 3-0, and it's taken all of 46 minutes for points to get on the board. Just shows you what a defensive battle this has been.
Well, at least there's something on the scoreboard, isn't there? I don't think we'll have to worry about talking about try-bonus points just yet, will we, in this game? But yeah, look, really important now from a Loughborough point of view. They get up into a good position in the Worcester half. They put some sustained pressure on, and from a Worcester point of view, that after that 3 points, they'll be wanting to get out as quickly as possible to really reinforce that lead on the scoreboard.
And it's a good kick by Helena Rowland, meaning that Lightning can chase and cover it up. Slight fumble by Flo Long, but she's managed to cover it backwards. Loughborough with the good counter from the ref, and Charlie Jacobi picks this one up. Kabea out to Harper. Lark Davies sees a little bit of space and goes for it into the Warriors 22. Now it's out the back. Rowland goes to Ramsbottom, running into space. They have penalty advantage. Jess Weaver on the wing picks that one up, but Loughborough are playing with penalty advantage. Ina Antwist down the middle. And no advantage coming. And good attacking play from Loughborough sees them rewarded with an offside penalty.
I'm sure it's something that Worcester spoke about at half-time, but they've got to make sure that they source those breakdowns correctly, and not just source them correctly, but then stay really strong over them. I think Loughborough have had, it's probably their 3rd or 4th now, where they've been able to counter-ruck through and get the ball back. It's a really soft way to give up possession. So I'm sure Worcester will be having those conversations and making sure that they're really strong over the ball.
3 subs coming on, 2 for Worcester Warriors, 1 for Loughborough Lightning. It looks to be a front row change. Akina Gondway and Carys Phillips coming off for Laura Keats and Lana Skeldon, who is making her debut for Worcester Warriors, but an attacking line out for Loughborough. Loughborough can't quite gather this.
Advantage scrum.
But Lightning have the scrum advantage. It is their ball, so something to build on.
Hold. Use it, 9.
Out to Davis comes.
No, we've got the first. Okay.
Oh, better be careful there, Rachel.
Okay.
Scrum down, Loughborough Lightning ball.
Scrappy, isn't it? It's scrappy. That first 10 minutes after the half, again, you know, you need a bit of time to resettle in, but big scrum now for Loughborough, but great to see Lana Skeldon on, another Scottish international out in the World Cup qualifiers who did a brilliant job. Her first appearance for Worcester that will, you know, really bolster their squad, and Carol Thomas as well coming on, who a very experienced Welsh international. They've got a very, very strong bench actually, Worcester, so any sub that they now make will really, really bolster this side.
And a big scrum for Loughborough, the referee siding in their favour, penalty inside the 22.
I will watch them. I've got your props hips coming out is my picture.
The referee just making it very clear who she's penalised and for what, which players may not like, but at least they know, what's going on.
Yeah, we spoke about it, didn't we? It's so hard to now try and change a picture and an idea that the referee's got in their head. Subs have come on. Carys a very experienced prop, Lana as well. So it's a tough ask for them, but if there's a couple of players that can do it, it's definitely them.
Ball going to the back. Sarah Hunter manages to gather this one, and it's a Loughborough rolling maul. Their forwards have been so dominant so far. Will they be able to capitalise on this? Can't tell who's got it at the back, but the ball's over the line, and it's a try for Loughborough Lightning. First try of the day. It's only taken 50 minutes to come in, and who else but Lark Davies dotting over the line. If you could have seen Emily Scarratt doing that, she was willing them on with everything she had.
God, I love the forwards sometimes. Yeah, look, brilliant drills, brilliant try. I think Lark Davies was up there, if not the top point scorer, try scorer, last year in the league because of that exact reason. Amongst all her other attributes and skills, she controls the ball so well at the back of those driving mauls. Really good setup. Started to crab a little bit across the field, but managed to just keep their legs going. I think it's Sarah Hunter's knees that you can see down in the middle of that maul. Whichever way, whatever will it takes, she was continuing to push that driving maul forward. So yeah, great score for Loughborough.
And it's sort of an underrated, as Helena Rowland manages to convert that, taking the score to Lightning 7, Warriors 3. But it's an underrated skill for hookers to control it at the back of the maul, because obviously they've got to sort out where they're going, but at the same time blocking out and keeping their head up to see which way they should break. Yeah,
it's a massive skill. There's obviously that orientation piece in terms of knowing where you are. You've got to keep one eye on potential defenders coming through the maul or around the maul. You hope the referee will deal with those coming around the maul, and it's really important to know where you are. How many tries have we seen over the years that have been scored on the 5 metre line because they haven't quite realised where they are.
And that line out goes all the way through to the 5 metre line. Georgina Tasker unsure whether to collect that ball or let it go out. Looked like one of those that could go dead, but could stay in, and this one has happened to stay in. But a bit of a miscommunication as we see the Tisha Harper just with a little bit of cramp there.
Yeah, it's a tough one. I don't know if you could pick up the whoops and hollers from the Worcester girls. That's exactly the response you want. You've just conceded 7 points down the other end.
Pink are going to be on
Best
the
thing
line,
you want to be doing now is forcing Loughborough into their own 5 metre line, forcing them to now have to play out, squeezing their skills, squeezing the opportunities that they have. And Sarah Hunter, with all her experience, just taking a moment just to redo her lifters at this moment in time so that everybody can just take a breath, make sure that this exit, which is incredibly important now for this Loughborough side, is right on the money.
Referee just making sure that Worcester know that the Loughborough players will be stationed on the line, but as you said, a massive line out. This is probably the first one that they've had in their own 5 metre line, and it's obviously vital because a good clearance here makes the difference between conceding and being able to actually chase up and put pressure on Worcester.
Yeah, and from a Worcester point of view, as much as they want to pressure this and they want to squeeze it, they also need to be really tidy in terms of their discipline. The worst thing they can do right now is give away a really soft penalty and allow Loughborough to exit easily. So, stay controlled, stay composed, make Loughborough kick their way out, which realistically, they're not going to get too far up the field, and Worcester will have the ball back.
As Loughborough do win that one, and it's Rachel Malcolm who takes it in, but
she's on the ball.
Just holding onto the ball, and Worcester with a chance to reply straight back, gaining the penalty.
Well, I said they didn't want to concede a penalty, but it's probably even better to win one, isn't it? Yeah, awesome work over the ball there, really strong. Just identified that Rachel Malcolm probably was just, half a second away from her support and being able to just get over and really attack that ball on the ground.
Yeah, we've seen it a lot more recently that players or teams will aim to play into the field to give a better angle for attack. Is this one just over the back and covered by Loughborough Lightning? And now the clearance looks to come. Helena Rowland does well to cover that one. And an excellent kick into touch, clears their lines and gives them some breathing room. But again, it's just another line out from these sides in an attacking area that just hasn't gone to plan.
Yeah, Worcester will be really frustrated with that. It's such a great attacking opportunity, earned for them from a great penalty steal. But fantastic kick from Helena Rowland. We talked about getting the ball off the field in those situations, and she did that, and she was able to get a good 30 metres up the field as well.
Loughborough realising they're just a player short. Covered really well by Worcester Warriors, who now have space to run into. Big challenge in the midfield as Lightning have their hands on this. Lark Davis with an excellent steal. Yeah, slightly high tackle there. Referee deciding safety first, don't play the advantage, let's just sort out. But what a rip by Lark Davies.
She's so good at that. She's so good at that. As much as we spoke about her potentially being, the top try scorer last year, she would have been right up there as well with those holding on penalties. She's naturally quite low to the ground. Her centre of gravity is quite low to the ground.
That's a nice way to say it.
So she's so quickly over the ball and able to get in those positions, and then is so strong. As
Helena Rowland can't quite find touch again, Vicky Laughlin keeps it in, and Worcester with a chance to attack. Good offload to Meg Varley. So now Lewis takes her time, just making sure her forwards are set. Loughborough letting the Warriors come to them rather than rushing out as we saw earlier in the first half, as Alicia Washington with a big carry. Excellent work there from Jenny Maxwell just to wrap up the ball, and it's stolen again by Lightning. Davies now, quick offload. Oh, what a hit. Worcester up really quickly, forcing that hit, and it's a good line break by Kath O'Donnell. She's got Sarah Hunter on her outside, but Worcester bringing her down. Now rolling with a little bit of space. Cabert with a little step, show and go down the right.
Go hot! Go hot! Leave it.
I mean, we can tell what's going on there, but she's making it clear that it's not intentional. Rachel Malcolm with a run down the middle. And Maxwell just looking to move this along. Ball comes out the back. Great play to Ramsbottom. They've got numbers now. Antwis has a player wide. Oh, just held onto it a touch too long, but covered by Gaffney, who does a little bit of a step.
Two.
And it's just knocked on in the tackle. But if she'd released her a second earlier, you can't help but think that Gaffney could have been away.
Okay. Yeah, I think the intent of what she's trying to do is exactly right, isn't it? She's trying to draw that last player 2-on-1, but yeah, when you've got pacey wingers outside of you, you just want to release them as early as possible. But it's nice play from Loughborough. Again, defensively, Worcester are really stepping up. They're making their tackles. They're ushering this Loughborough attack really, really well. I'd love to see Loughborough step up a bit flatter. I think that opportunity there out the back, if Loughborough had just stepped up a little bit flatter, it wouldn't have meant the Worcester recovery time was far less. Take more metres, apply more pressure. And as we said, Iona giving Megan Gaffney a run down this wing would have potentially been a lot more exciting.
Yeah, we've seen a slightly different approach for defending in this second half from both teams. Worcester opting to choose, that high line speed, get up right in their faces, give them no time. Whereas, Loughborough in those past few phases were just happy to sit back and let Worcester come to them and force them into making those unforced errors, which have been coming. Yeah,
look, different teams will have different defensive systems, and some of those will change throughout the course of games. They'll change because of scenarios that are put in front of them. And also sometimes it depends on the preference of the players and what they prefer to do. We spoke about Lydia earlier. She loves coming high and making that big shot, and she's incredibly good at it and making those reads. But ultimately, defences that are able to get off the line, make big tackles, stop the momentum, stop the offload, stop the charge of that attacking side, are often going to be the ones that really stay on top in games.
Do we need to get her off and treat her? Or
Datisha Harper just down with what seemed like cramp, but maybe could be something more. But we're seeing both forwards packs having a big chat amongst themselves, trying to figure out what's going well and if they need to work on anything, where they're putting it. But it's been a great forwards battle, but one that Loughborough have been winning in the scrums.
Yeah, they've definitely been winning it in the scrums. I think.
I'm not a medic.
Sinead Harris again, just making sure the referee knows that they're ready to go. They're going to show good pictures in this scrum. It's a shame to see Datisha down. I think Katie Travaden, the prop that will come on to cover her, is incredibly talented herself.
Yeah, heaps of experience, both.
Yeah, exactly, heaps of experience. So I was just going to say, it's a shame to see Tasker coming off the field quite like this. You always want to see players leave the field walking in under their own steam, but hopefully it's nothing too serious. I've got some crutches I can lend her.
Time on.
You've got a little scooter that she can fly around on. As Katie Trevarthen coming on her 47th start for Loughborough today, approaching that match at 50 number. But yeah, that's still a very strong front row. Yeah, really strong front row, and Katie T doesn't necessarily pack the punch of a traditional prop in terms of her weight and her makeup, but technically she's very, very good. She's incredibly experienced, and there'll be no real change to this Loughborough scrum with her coming on, that's for sure.
Okay, we're standing up. Far side, we've got both props angling in. We're going to reset that.
Ref not quite happy with the setup of that scrum, and obviously scrum's all about safety first nowadays, so not even going to let that one run out. Reset, go again.
We spoke before about stability, okay, and those shoulders out. Picture I need.
See, both front rows are very, very up for this battle, aren't they? Subs that have come on, the dimension of scrums changes when subs have come on and changes are made. So, brand new competition for them every time they come into a scrum.
Early.
As Loughborough gets the free kick for this one.
No. Back of the scrum, you know this.
Sarah, come on now. So Sarah Hunter wanting to go quick, referee having none of it. But yeah, free kick for Loughborough Lightning.
Scrum called.
They're going for another scrum, looking just to, they found, their strength in this game. Why not? Don't change it.
Yeah, they'll be looking to really assert that dominance. You think a penalty in this situation, just the other side of the halfway line, potentially kicking that down into the 22. That's a super positive outcome for this Loughborough side. Or they give their backs an opportunity to really charge. Again, back line looking really deep in how it's set up. But again, just giving players opportunities. Ellen Ramsbottom's onto the field. She's a brilliant carrier of the ball. Really take that defensive line on and challenge defenders.
You can just hear Katie Trevarthen marshalling that scrum, and they do get a penalty. It's almost like you know what you're talking about, Skaz.
If I was a back out there, I'd be screaming for the ball, but yeah, look, it's brilliant, and that's exactly what you want. It's if you are dominant in an area, then keep pressing it home, keep making it happen until they change something. And as I say, until they change something, I can see Laura Keats, World Cup winning prop, taking off her bib on the far side of the field. So one thing Laura Keats is incredibly good at is scrummaging, amongst other things. And just on a side note, it's her first game back for, I think, over a year. She's been out for a long time with a knee injury. So you can see the Worcester players and the players that know her in the crowd really getting behind her, because it's been a long and tough road for her, but it's awesome to see her back out there.
Yeah, excellent to have her back on the field and it replacing Flo Long. But it is Loughborough with the put-in at this line-out. Lark Davis signing it up. It looks like Rachel Malcolm going up at the back. Quick ball off the top. And now those backs looking tasked with a quick offload. Just knocks on, and execution. The intent was there again, but that depth, it just doesn't give much time for getting up to the game line.
Yeah, you can see Megan Gaffney having a chat with Georgina Tasker now. They just got to figure out their timing on those ones. Megan Gaffney's coming off her wing. She's looking for that kind of short shoulder ball around the corner. But it's just the quality of pass, it's the weight of the pass, it's all those sorts of things. Just a little bit of timing between those two. Obviously, Megan Gaffney only arrived this week, so everybody will be getting used to how she plays and where she likes the ball and all that sort of stuff. So there's naturally a few teething issues.
It's the Worcester scrum. This one's a fairly solid one from both sides. The injection of Laura Keats working out well for Worcester. Harries with the offload. Now Worcester looking to make some meters as Carys Cox takes this one up. Another forward ball, and it is Keats who barrels into the defender. But it's Alicia Washington who's found a little bit of a gap. Helena Rowland goes for the tackle, can't quite make it, and it's a race to the line. Georgie Lingham tries to cover. Ref's just going to have a quick word with the assistant.
Time off.
Worcester think they've scored it.
Time off.
I think she scored it too.
What a run by Alicia Washington.
Because I'm looking at touch. She's in touch.
She's in touch.
She's in touch.
I have a grounding my side.
I think he meant to say she's not in touch.
Yeah, so that's good from the referees just to make sure they're on the same page, even though it didn't seem like they were. But the referee saw the grounding, sounded like she was in touch, but maybe not. But what a run by Alicia Washington, just finding that gap, breaking the tackle, getting around the wing.
It's a brilliant pick, straight down through the breakdown. You see it so often. Players are so determined to get into their guard and body guard positions or fold around the breakdown that space around the breakdown and in behind the breakdown is so often kind of left and deserted at times. So it's a brilliant pick by her. How she continued to keep running after that first challenge and striding down the wing. She's got a hell of a stride length on her. It's a brilliant finish. It certainly looked like a try from up here, but as I say, it's the farthest corner away from us, but a fantastic finish.
Yeah, 3 players on her while she was getting over the line. Conversion attempt just hit short. Worcester Warriors take a 1-point lead over Loughborough Lightning with just under 20 minutes remaining. But look at this run. There's 3 of them there. Yeah, definitely grounded.
Such an important part of the game now. Finally we've got points on the board. It's still a 1-point game, but it's so important now this next 20 minutes. Both sides really need to, people have got to step up. They've got to take a hold of it. They've got to control the territory. They've got to control the possession and ultimately put themselves in positions to win this game.
And it looks like it'll just be those first up tackles that really make the difference for the 2 sides. As Worcester, a little bit of a dummy.
No.
Joe Brown just taking this one as Loughborough rush up. Oh, they found a space in behind. Vicky Laughlin on the run. Great covering tackle by Helena Rowland. Yamamoto looks back inside and Laura Keats just handing off Georgina Tasker. But what vision by Worcester Warriors to see that space out wide. As
I need a clear release.
unfortunately, Katie Travada not quite releasing, but good vision by Worcester Warriors to see that space out wide.
Oh, I love it. What a great kick. You see it so often. Sides, especially when you're defending so high up the field, sides drop right off. The backfield is really deep, and there's always that lovely little space in between. Wingers are, again, coming high and trying to shut off that space. So it's such a brilliant option and superbly executed by Worcester.
Another superbly executed kick as this one comes in
5 Loughborough sub.
10 metres out. Ina Antwis coming off, making way for...
Yeah, sub. Okay, we've got time off for the sub, don't
worry. For Maya Mueller.
Nita.
Thanks, Gaz. Might need to go to Specsavers later.
For the sub, I will put time on, don't worry. That is yours. Get them on you, and we set a meter, remember. Come in.
So Worcester with all the momentum at the moment, having just scored, they're straight back into the Lightning 22 with an attacking line out. Ball covered well at the back, and it's straight into a maul, but taken out by Sinead Harries down to the Loughborough 5-metre line. Loughborough just making sure to set those guards this time, making sure no meters made, but it'll be forward ball again. Sinead Harris with the pick and go, met by Sarah Hunter. Manages just to squirm through that tackle, and Worcester are edging ever closer to this line. The backs are calling for it out wide, but I don't think they'll get there. A lot of players giving their opinions here. But the referee says it to try, and Worcester have stretched their lead again. Took a while for the referee to get the correct position, but once she'd seen it, she decided that ball was down. And it looked like Sinead Harris who managed to dot that one down.
I think it's Laura Keats, and it's one hell of a way to mark her return to rugby. As I say, she's been out for a hell of a long time. A year or so with injury, hurt her knee, and has fought her way back. She's a brilliant rugby player. She's been around the game a long time. Won a World Cup amongst many other things, and was part of a Worcester side that won the Premiership quite a few years ago, but she's still doing her thing, perfecting her trade and coming off the bench to score a really important score for Worcester. That really now pushes them ahead, and the conversion's good as well. So it's now more than a converted try ahead for Worcester Warriors.
Yeah, 8 points the gap here now, and that's definitely something coaches talk so much about, is like not getting complacent after you score and just making sure to press your advantage, and that's exactly what Worcester have managed to do there.
Yeah, it's what we spoke about, wasn't it, last time Worcester scored, in terms of who wants to get a hold of this game, who wants to be in the right areas, who's prepared to not concede those important penalties and really push that side in the direction that they need to go for the last 15 minutes or so.
But having had 0 tries in the first 46 minutes, we've now had 3 in the space of 20, and hopefully we'll see a couple more as Worcester managed to gather this kick cleanly. Sadia Kabert straight through the middle again, forcing Katie Fionn Lewis to take that one a little bit quicker than she may have liked. Lewis just been told to use it, but she has got 5 seconds. Puts a long kick downfield. Straight out though, but it's coming all the way back, and an uncharacteristic error there for Lewis's box kick.
I was just about to say, it's really good control from the Worcester 9 Fionn Lewis, just making sure she was taking her time, everything was set, everything was ready. There's no need to rush now for this Worcester side, but unfortunately she was just outside the 22, so gifted Loughborough now a brilliant opportunity to try and strike back immediately.
I would imagine we'd see another rolling maul from Loughborough, but they've got to recover the ball first off this line out. Ball comes in, just stolen and knocked to Loughborough, but it is a scrum advantage from that knock on. Sadia Kabert hitting the line at speed. Maxwell just switching the play, coming back to this near side. Lark Davis with a quick ball out to Rachel Malcolm. Can't quite get the offload away and into touch, but that'll come back to that scrum advantage. So Loughborough with a scrum just outside the 22.
On the 15.
Rachel Malcolm knew that. Tried to have a little dart down the short side. Brilliant cover by Lana Skeldon, those Scottish compatriots of that they are.
Okay, on the 15.
Yeah, again, another great opportunity here for Loughborough. A really important one as well. We're nearly 11 minutes left on our clock anyway. A brilliant attacking opportunity. This is where you want to be. You want to be down in the heart of an opposition territory with really positive front foot scrum ball. We've had a bit of a reshuffle as Maya's come on. I think Rachel Malcolm's now at 8 and Sarah Hunter has jumped into the row, which I'm sure she's thrilled about, into the engine room. But yeah, still a really, really strong and powerful scrum.
Yeah, Loughborough really emptying the bench to give this scrum, that real edge that they've had throughout this game, with another chance to take this into the Warriors 22.
She's really far away. Set!
Worcester just letting the ref know what they think of that scrum.
I don't know if you... I don't know if you picked up on the...
Okay, the shoulder was fine. You both come forward.
On the ref mic there, you could hear Laura keep saying, "Sir, she's really far away from me." She wasn't happy even before the ball was put in. But again, that's really, it shows her experience. She's just letting the ref know, even before anything's happened, that she's not quite happy. So then actually when something does happen, it's a reset rather than anything more.
Big contest from the two sides, and Worcester managed to come away with a penalty from this scrum. Worcester's first penalty of the game from a scrum, and they've managed to overhaul what was a Loughborough, a Loughborough dominant set piece.
Yeah, it was. It's the Laura Keats effect, isn't it? We, spoke in the first half about the strength that this Worcester side had on the bench, and none more so than in their front row. An internationally stacked front row with bags of experience, bags of talent, bags of scrummaging nous. So it was always going to be, tough for this Loughborough side to maintain that scrum momentum all game when those changes were being made.
Yamamoto with the kick to touch, just making sure Worcester will have the line out in their own half. Again, a really deep back set for them, and that ball's just overthrown a little bit more, but recovered by Alicia Washington. As now Worcester will use the backs. Loughborough just waiting for them to come and making the hit. Bit of a swizzle, flat ball. Meg Varley's found a bit of space. Great covering tackle, intercepted by Megan Gaffney. But an excellent covering tackle there from Loughborough. Referee saying ball's out.
Off feet.
And Worcester, rightly so, going for the ball, but unfortunately just off her feet, so Loughborough penalty. A little bit of a let-off, but great covering tackle just to knock that ball out and force her to throw the pass a little bit earlier than she would have wanted.
Yeah, definitely. I'd like to see that again. If the ball's out, I don't know if you can be off your feet, can you? But that might just be my understanding. I'm not sure. I'm not getting involved with the intricacies of refereeing, that's for sure. But yeah, look, again, Worcester shown real good promise in terms of how they want to play and their intent and attacking onto the ball. Loughborough holding strong on that occasion and being able to turn it over.
And Loughborough go to the back. Sarah Hunter cleanly takes this one as... Oh, what a run! Maya Mueller into the Warriors 22, breaks a tackle and she's away. Jenny Maxwell, oh, cynical. Alicia Washington just making sure that quick ball comes. I mean, she knows what she's done, but it has slowed Loughborough down and, given Worcester time to reset.
She had a brilliantly timed one, didn't she, in the first half? You can see it every time there's a momentum burst, every time there's a line break there. Brilliant one by Maya. Alicia Washington is just sniffing around that breakdown, and as soon as Jenny Maxwell picks up the ball, she's on her straight away, and as soon as she picks up the ball, she's entitled to, but she's got to make sure that she makes the tackle rather than attempting to slap the ball, and that's probably the difference between the two that we've just seen.
Yeah, Jenny Maxwell just a little bit too quick for her to wrap her up, as now Loughborough with another attacking line out right on the Worcester 5-metre line. Not covered cleanly, but recovered by Katie Trevarden. Big tackle from the Worcester defence. So now the Jess Weaver filling in at 9 takes that one. It looks like Jenny Maxwell's floated all the way over to the left wing, just in case that kick is on. Lark Davis, though, going straight through the gap. And Kath O'Donnell now take it. Oh, big hit, great tackle. Now Maya Mueller looking to get closer to that line. But the Warriors armour holding fast. Quick offload from Sarah Hunter. Helena Rowland just thinking better of throwing that pass. Safety first from Loughborough.
Away.
Rachel Malcolm takes this one up, and Loughborough just going through the phases, and they've been rewarded with a penalty advantage for a high tackle. There is space out wide. Tasker gives it to Gaffney. Just the winger to beat, but she's shepherded into touch.
High tackle back over here, number 8.
And it will come back for a penalty in the middle of the park for a high tackle.
Big decision here, isn't it? Just wait to see where she stops running to, the referee, but big decision in terms of taking the points that will put you immediately within a losing bonus point range and give you the opportunity to then go on and win the game with a try, or
in the 22. Let's just keep the discipline good. It's been good all game.
Or kick to the corner and go for the jugular, as it were, but even with a converted try still be trailing by a point. So I think the referees just put Worcester on a warning. So I think it's a good idea to go to the corner and really squeeze home that advantage and really make sure that they're really hot on their discipline.
As Helena Rowland makes sure of that one, putting it right on the 5, and maybe before that last scrum you might have thought they could take that scrum, showing their dominance here, but they've trusted the forwards anyhow, going for the line out. Sarah Hunter making sure they know the call. It's Kath O'Donnell who goes up at the front, and the ball is caught, not quite cleanly, but the ball is at the back, and Lark David shepherding it towards the line. As Laura Keats just making a nuisance of herself.
Advantage penalty.
Penalty advantage coming for Loughborough. Helena Rowland swallowed up, and this will come back. And we might see a card here that...
Hold. Wait. No, both of you away. 10. If you retaliate like that, I will reverse the penalty. The penalty here, and it'll be a yellow card to 17 for collapsing them all. Okay?
Laura Keats will see a yellow card, and having proved so dominant in the scrum, she has just cynically
then it went forward,
brought
and
that
then
one
your
down.
17 brought it down.
So it's on the 7, the second collapse, you're penalising.
Yeah, so 17,
Not Laura Keats, Scarratt Thomas.
On the line.
It's getting a bit spicy, isn't it? It's going to be. It's a tight game.
Still got time
Last
off.
few minutes left. I suppose it's a Midlands derby, isn't it? By all accounts, and it's exactly the right decision. You could see Carys slip round the side and then just essentially pull it down. The maul probably wasn't the best setup in the first place from a Loughborough point of view, so it's an easy out. It's another opportunity. But as this clock ticks down, the clock is now against Loughborough Lightning. If they are going to score and they are going to have an attempt to go on and win this game, then they really need to do it quite quickly.
They're on the line. They're on the line. You're on the line.
Lark Davies making sure this one goes in quickly, and it's Rachel Malcolm who rises, takes this one cleanly, and Loughborough now flying towards the line. It's another penalty advantage for Loughborough as Lark Davies has this at the back. Loughborough are playing with penalty advantage. And Maya Mueller just edging her way further towards the line.
No. Okay, going backwards. Come with me again, girl. Come with me. Okay, collapse maul again.
And that's the second collapse maul in as many line-outs.
Well, as the totally non-impartial person that I am, you do start to wonder how many more it'll be before
We've got subs.
she looks at either another yellow card or the potential of a penalty try. I don't think that one was appropriate for a penalty try because Loughborough weren't exactly charging towards the try line, but they were well set up. They had a really, really good setup and they were definitely headed in the right direction. So Worcester have really got to be careful now. These are the times where you've got to stick to your discipline, you've got to make good decisions, and you've got to front up in the forwards especially because they're already one player down.
Yeah, and Worcester have just brought on another forward in place of Vicky Lathling, looking to stack that pack to stop this rolling maul. But Lark Davies with the injection from the sideline. Sarah Hunter rises above the rest, and this time it's legal by Worcester, and Lark Davies has it at the back. Moving towards the line, Loughborough have all of the momentum, and Lark Davies is over the line again. Loughborough Lightning with another try. And now they're trying to get up quickly to get this ball, this conversion taken. They are in losing bonus point range, but obviously they want to win this match.
Yeah, of course they want to win this match. And it'll be really interesting to know what the referee's got on her clock compared to what we've got on our clock. I think Helen has just asked her, and my assumption is that because she's putting the ball on the tee and taking the conversion rather than taking a drop goal, there's potentially a little bit more than the 30 seconds that is showing on ours. But really important kick nonetheless, puts you in penalty range.
And she'll make it. What a kick under pressure. Helena Rowland pulls Loughborough Lightning within one of Worcester. And now they're going to be getting the ball off this restart, so it's going to be safety first for Lightning.
Yeah.
As we just see Lark Davies powering over the line.
Yeah, it's such a good setup. Loughborough so very good at driving mauls and scoring tries from them. It's a brilliant setup that they have, and the power to just keep going. For me now, Worcester, it's all about game management. It was slightly off camera, but the Worcester players actually running back to the halfway line. There's absolutely no need for them to run back to the halfway line. They can all walk, they can take the time, they can make the referee hurry them along a little bit because actually they're still in control of this game. As
Worcester choose to send this one deep into the Loughborough 22, and Rachel Malcolm brings it out. Jess Weaver now playing at 9, or juggled by Ramsbottom, but brilliantly held on to in the end. But Georgie Lingham just clearing out a little bit high, and Worcester now have the chance to... They're now trying to put it out of penalty range, going for the posts.
It's a great decision. If nothing else, it'll take up a good bit of time on the clock that is already against Loughborough Lightning, and I think they've just asked the referee actually then how long they have. It's 60 seconds for a pen, 90 for a conversion. So I'm sure she will eke out every single second that she has available to her. And then obviously if the penalty is a successful one, then it's a really, really tough job for this Loughborough side.
Yeah, big question as to whether you put it short and try and contest it, or force them deep and try and force a mistake in their own 22. But it's Ellen Murphy taking this penalty from the 15. Big kick this.
And she's made it. Worcester Warriors stretch their lead to 4, 18-14, and Lightning now with their backs against the wall if they want to win this game.
Yeah, it's a great kick, brilliant kick. You know, come onto the field as a replacement. It's first strike of the ball. It's a fantastic, fantastic kick.
It's now Helena Rowland making sure that everyone's on the same page about what's happening, sending Megan Gaffney right to the wing. And this one will go short, contestable kick.
Advantage.
Lightning come away with it.
First knock on, second knock on, pink scrum.
And it will be a Loughborough scrum. There is time for it, despite what our clock says. The referee has something different. Great kick by Helena Rowland, just making it contestable, and Lightning having a chance to come back and win this game.
Yeah, she's so good at those. She's got a great sevens pedigree behind her, where that is so important in the game of sevens to get those restarts high and give people the opportunity to get under them.
And important to note that Worcester actually took a back off to have a full scrum, so Loughborough Lightning with an advantage should they choose to go wide.
We keep going down, we need to come up.
They've got to win the scrum first.
They've got to win the scrum first, and they've also got to have identified that and then potentially see where that opportunity now may be. Obviously, as looking at it here on the wide pan, there's definitely space on the edge, but that would disappear really, really quickly.
But Loughborough doing their best to hold on to the scrum. Worcester flying forward, and they will get the penalty. Worcester Warriors turning over a game full of Loughborough dominance as referee says time is off, and that will be the ball game. Worcester Warriors win this game.
Huge result for Worcester Warriors. You can see how happy they are, how much it means to them. A brilliant second half. I think, you know, massive dibs and pats on the backs to the substitutions that came on for Worcester. When you look at the team sheets, you look down the list of 16 to 23 on the Worcester side, and it looked really strong, packed full of internationals and experience. And you know, whether players are coming back from injury or not, it's, you know, the experience and rugby intelligence is there nonetheless. So yeah, fantastic result for them. It's a tough one for Loughborough. You know, we'll keep building, we'll keep pushing on. We've got lots of things to take from that game, but yeah, well done to Worcester Warriors.
Yeah, so obviously, you know, first half sort of cagey, 0-0. Coming into it, that second half, we saw a lot of good rugby from both sides, both going forward and defence. But Worcester just, you know, sorting out those mistakes almost. You know, they were very clinical at the line-out. Those subs, as you said, Laura Keats coming on, just making sure that, and you know, that final scrum showing it there that, you know, they identified their weakness and just, you know, plugged the gap.
I think as well, Worcester's defence was very impressive today. You know, you could argue perhaps that Loughborough perhaps didn't fire in attack, and you know, they didn't have perhaps the strength of attack to defend against, but you have to defend what's in front of you, and they made their tackles, they fronted up, they made good decisions, and ultimately they stopped Loughborough scoring for large parts of that game. And you know, when you look at things like that, then you know, fair play to them, they deserved their victory. It was cagey, and it was certainly not a thriller at half time, was it? But we got some action in the second half, and I think for both sides, I think the way they want to play and their intent that they have, they're a couple of passes away, they're a couple of collisions away from, you know, stringing together that lovely running rugby that, you know, perhaps we wanted to see today. But I think the intent of both sides and how they're being led and how they're, you know, the things that are being delivered to them is a really positive thing.
Yeah, I know we spoke about it at half-time that maybe, you know, Worcester were looking to go wide all the time and not quite using their forwards, but, you know, they totally changed that around. They identified, as you said, the gaps in sort of the guards, bodyguards, and Alicia Washington was an absolutely marvellous solo effort.
Yeah, unbelievable try that was. I think that'll, you know, if it's not try of the week, it will certainly be up there when Allianz do the rounds on social media later this week. But yeah, fantastic solo effort. And games like this, like tight games like this, come down to moments like that. And, you know, we spoke about balance, and it's not all about, you know, trying to score the tries on the edge with the wingers running really fast. It's about moments like that. It's about, you know, seeing that one opportunity that you might have to change a game, and she did that.
And if you had to pick a, you know, player of the game, obviously, you know, really tight from both sides, could you do it, or is it, you know, it's obviously a massive team effort from Worcester to pull out this dub?
I think I know I keep banging on about it, and she is a good friend of mine, but I think Laura Keats made an enormous impact off the bench in terms of scrum time. But I think for a player of the match, you've probably got to go to Alicia Washington. I think, you know, that try in itself probably, you know, speaks volumes, but just her work around the park, her, you know, contacts, her constant collisions, her constant positivity around everything that she was doing, and her intent to continue to go forward for that Worcester team was awesome.
The fact that we're, you know, continually talking about Laura Keats, and she was maybe on the pitch for, you know, 20-15 minutes, and the impact that she brought on just shows how important, you know, having strength in depth is. And, you know, both sides loaded with talent, but, you know, Jo Yap just making the right calls at the right time.
Yeah, she really did. I think literally that substitution was made after Loughborough just won another scrum penalty, wasn't it? You know, she knew the quality she had on the bench. Obviously, as we said, Laura was returning from an injury, so she might have been capped on minutes, so she might have only been allowed that 20 minutes that she had. But it makes a huge difference. Like, rugby is changing and evolving, but if you don't have a scrum that works and functions and is able to win you ball and hold strong on opposition's ball, you're really, really going to struggle. And, you know, Carys and Laura were able to come off the bench, and Lana Skeldon, obviously, and were able to really firm up that Worcester scrum.
Yeah, well, that's it from us in commentary. Emily, Scarratt, thank you so much for joining us. It's been a hell of a rugby game, and we wish you all the best in your recovery.
Thank you very much. Cheers.
It's full time here at Loughborough University. It was 14-18 to Worcester Warriors. Big well done to both the teams. They both played amazingly well. It was so close. Let's have a look at the other games that are playing this afternoon. So as we said at half-time, the full-time score for the Bristol Bears versus the Harlequins was 24-5 to the Bristol Bears. The Loughborough Lightning Worcester Warriors score was 18-14 to Worcester Warriors. And the Durham Sharks and Sale Sharks match has just started, I believe, in 5 minutes. Let's have a look at how that affects the league tables. So, as it stands, the Bristol Bears women's team are on 24 points, and they are currently leading the table. We then have the Saracens women's on 20 points, the Exeter Chiefs on 14 points, and they're currently drawing with the Harlequins. And then we have the Gloucestershire Hartpury women's team on 12 points, the Wasps and Worcester Warriors on 11, Loughborough Lightning with 6, and the Sale Sharks with 1, and the Durham Sharks with 0. Sam is back now from commentary.
Yeah, I'm back, and obviously we just saw the league table there, and Bristol doing a wonderful job of shoring up their spot at the top of the table. But, you know, excellent to see Worcester moving up there, challenging Wasps. Wasps obviously with a game in hand, but, you know, that top four is looking totally different to what we've seen over the past few years. Normally, you know, we see Loughborough, Saracens, Harlequins and Wasps, but, you know, this time all different, and it's all to play for this year, and I think that's really good for the league.
So obviously we had a much more eventful second half. Let's look at some of the best bits throughout the second half.
So, yeah, obviously, you know, big difference in the second half. We actually got points on the board, which is great to see, but Worcester's scrum, you know, obviously we see that it didn't quite start off the way they wanted, but as Skaz and I were saying in commentary, that change by Jo Yap bringing Laura Keats on totally changed the way that they ran their scrums. Loughborough showing, you know, at times a little bit of magic, trying to work it round the wing. But in the end, you know, it's a little bit of ill discipline and a little bit of handling errors that just meant that they couldn't quite, you know, get over the line. But, you know, it was a great game of rugby. At the end of the day, this is the first time that Worcester have beaten Loughborough since both sides entering the Tyrrell/Allianz Premier 15s, and, you know, it's a huge, you know, feather in Worcester's cap to take away from this.
Would you say that it was as close as you expected it to be for this being the 7th and 8th kind of teams against each other?
Yeah, I mean, both sides, you know, Worcester recruited really well at the start of the season, brought in a lot of big names, and, you know, Loughborough did lose a couple of key players, but they also, you know, Charlie Jacoby came in, and a couple of others, and then, you know, Megan Gaffney, and, you know, they've got good sides, but as we were saying, the Scotland players for Lightning, who made up sort of 4 of the 8 changes, have only just got back into camp this week, so they were always going to have a little bit of teething issues. But Worcester have had a lot of time as this squad, and they played really, really well and deserve all the credit they're going to get for drawing out a big win here at Loughborough University. As we're seeing here on the screen, this was just another example of it was quick Worcester defence, which really put the pressure on Loughborough, and it just meant that they couldn't play with the freedom that they normally enjoy. Kath O'Donnell there making a fabulous break, but Loughborough couldn't rely on line breaks from individuals. They didn't often have the support, as we see Alithia Washington's superb effort. The fact that she stays on her feet there and then has sort of 3 players hanging off her as she crosses the line is phenomenal. And as Skaz said, so far try of the week. I mean, we've not seen the Bristol Bears game, but good luck topping that. And some excellent kicking in pressure situations from both Helena Rowland and both Minori Yamamoto.
And then obviously towards the end of the game, Loughborough managed to get their try, managed to convert the penalty. We were 1 point, Loughborough were 1 point off actually getting, close to winning. And then it just seemed to fall apart right at the end and gave Worcester the penalty.
Yeah, so that was what we were saying about, a little bit of ill discipline, not quite being fully rugby ready. They were in the right areas, but not quite executing. And it's definitely something that, this is early in the season. We are only in round 5, so it'll definitely get better for the team, but something that Reece will be looking to, eliminate from his side early doors.
Last question. Who would you say was the best player on the pitch today?
Yeah, Skaz had a big question about this, but I think I agree with her. Alithia Washington, fantastic solo effort, but she was everywhere. Every breakdown, you always knew that she was going to be there, harassing Jenny Maxwell. She did have that one sort of, deliberate slap of the ball, which could have been, her just being a little bit late to the tackle, but she played out of her skin today, and that's her 3rd try in 5 games. She's such an important signing for Worcester and will be such an important part of this team going forward for the rest of the season.
Okay, well, this is obviously not it for Loughborough Lightning. They have upcoming matches. So here is the next match coming up for Loughborough Lightning. So, in round 6, we have the Bristol Bears women versus the Wasps, Gloucester Harpurhey versus Scarratt, Sale Sharks versus Harlequins, DMP versus Worcester, and Exeter Chiefs versus Loughborough at 3.
Yeah, some great fixtures there. Obviously, Bristol against Wasps will be, electric, and Gloucester v Saracens is always good. But, Worcester have a game at DMP Durham Sharks, and, that will be one for them just to sort of, make sure they come away with the 5 points. It's always important, winning games, but DMP historically have been sort of the weaker side in the league, and then Loughborough, away at Exeter. Exeter have been high flying since about halfway through last season. They went on a run of 8 games unbeaten, and now they've got one more game and they're in the top 4. So that's going to be an exciting game next week.
And let's see what else we have running up on LSUTV. Okay, so the next match here with LSUTV is Loughborough Lightning versus Sale Sharks. This is on Saturday, the 11th of December at 2 p.m. here at the first 15 pitch. So you can watch that live here at LSUTV. If you want more updates about this, you can follow us at LSU Media or watch us on the hashtag LSU Match Report.
Thank you so much for everyone that came down to support both teams today. Thank you to those watching at home, and a big thank you from me, myself, Danny and Sam for supporting us too. Thank you very much and good night.
Looking so handsome, Oh, you have your way, and it's making me weaken. You and your stardust, walking like that. It's really getting too much, but I can't pull back. Though I try to resist, I can't fight this. And no one makes me feel like you do. And no one sets my body on fire. And no one gives me shivers like you. Oh, no one does it better. How I try to sleep, but you're deep in my mind. Got a hold of me. When I'm awake, I'm all blind. You and your magic, like infinite power. God knows I try to resist, but you're pulling me closer. Oh, I gotta stay away, but you won't let me. And no one